Yo, what's up YouTube family? It's your boy Koozie, back at you with another hot TikTok reaction video. And today we're gonna do some creepy and bizarre TikTok reactions. I'm talking about the kind that's gonna have you rethinking reality. With that said, if you're new to the channel, go ahead, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I drop some new hot content. And one more thing, y'all, a lot of people been telling me that they are subscribed and have to resubscribe almost every day. They not get my notifications whenever I drop. You know, hit the notification bell. If not, just y'all let me know, man, because you know they messing with the channel, the numbers, because of the content. You know, they trying to rate it as radicalism. You know what I'm saying? They're like a radical content. If y'all don't know anything Christian or conspiracy things right now, they, you know, we on attack right now. So y'all, we gotta band together a little bit. Oh yeah. These videos are for entertainment purposes only. Don't believe anything you hear or see in these videos, and don't believe anything that I say in these videos. Always do your own research and always use your own discernment. Guys, like, I gotta say that, man, because I'm thinking that's part of the problem, man. They thinking that, you know, these ain't for entertainment purposes, you know, and educational purposes too, you know, for some that think it's, you know, they can use their own discernment and figure out what's true or not. You know, sorry for the long intro, y'all. Let's get right to the content.
What is the Vatican keeping secret?
For their entire time that they've existed, they've collected manuscripts and relics and items, not only for their own research and to support their ideas, but also to prevent anything coming out. Because they need to control the information around biblical issues, they can't allow alternative views to become public. They've got 52 miles of shelving of books and manuscripts alone. So that will be everything from early first century fragments to potentially entire alternative gospels. There's the potential for alternative views to emerge. There were lots of different books originally that were set to go in the Bible, and it was only through a process of politics mainly that the final books were chosen. You'd expect an archive to be a public record that's made available, but because there's the potential for controversial material, you're not allowed access. They have potentially tens of thousands of documents that are still uncatalogued. So there could be documents they've got no idea of the importance of that they've got stored.
And is it just documents?
There's definitely relics. We know that from the Holy Land, certain items were returned, some quite extreme items. The foreskin of Christ is one of them that's said to be in the Vatican. Even the umbilical cord was supposed to have been kept.
Man, I know I heard what I think I just heard, y'all. Did he just say the foreskin of Christ and even allegedly the umbilical cord? Man, that is extreme. Talking about radicalism. No, I'm just playing. Y'all, that is crazy though, man. Yeah, I got to joke a little bit though. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that though in the comment section.
I don't think the Roman Empire fell. I think it became a church. I think the Rome fell, but the Roman Empire became the church. Where's all the money from the Roman Empire?
The Vatican.
In the basement of the Vatican is where it is, yeah. So Roman Empire became a church. British Empire became a bank.
Uh-oh.
So we gave our empire back. We said, oh yeah, sorry about that. You can have that back. We gave, you know, Saudi Arabia back and all these other places that we'd sort of we'd taken the resources, and then they had their own money. And then we went, oh well, what are you doing with that money? Because we've got this thing called the City of London. I tell you what, it's your money, but we're going to hold it. We'll have it over here. Is that okay? Yeah, fine, great.
What y'all think about that?
The Roman Empire didn't disappear. It reorganized itself into a church called the fucking Vatican. And the Vatican set up fucking churches all over the world, and that's how they run shit. They run all the intelligence agencies and all the Western fucking
CIA,
mobs.
CIA and Mossad
Allegedly.
don't take their orders from the fucking
You are
Vatican.
so cute. You are so cute.
You think the Vatican?
You are so cute.
You think the Vatican runs?
100%.
You think the Pope?
Yep.
Runs?
Yeah. No.
Tells the CIA
No. I
and
don't think
Mossad
the
what
white
to
Pope
do?
does. I think the gray Pope does.
Hey, I don't know nothing about none of that, man. I'm just reacting to the content. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that down below in the comment section, man. You know, I'm just an amateur reactor. I don't know nothing about none of this conspiracy stuff, man. I'm just getting into it, y'all guys. You know, like some people comment and say, oh man, he's just doing it for a check. Yeah, believe that, man. Let's get it, man. Let me know what y'all think down below in the comment section about that clip, though.
The briefing paper that I saw and read with my own eyes at Kirtland Air Force Base said there have been other intelligences using this planet for at least 270 million years. These extraterrestrial entities created a being to be placed on this planet to teach Homo sapien about love and nonviolence, identifying Jesus Christ as an extraterrestrial created specifically to come to Earth. The avatars of history may have been non-humans on very specific missions.
The hell she talking about, man? Y'all let me know down below in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? Even though, if you know, you know, if you read some of the, or heard some of the book of Enoch. Yeah. But like I say, man, y'all don't fall for the boo-boo, man. For real, though.
The Vatican is likely the most corrupt institution in our world. The Vatican is no stranger to murder, child trafficking, drug trafficking, sex exploitation, and cover-ups. Arguably one of the most famous basilicas in the world, underneath it lies a mass graveyard. So located about 5 stories beneath the basilica is actually another temple dating back to the Roman Empire. That's over 2,000 years of dead bodies. If you're wondering if those bodies are of Christians or Catholics, they're not. It was actually used for pagans. And here are some of the mosaic tiles that they found beneath the Vatican in the temple that it's built on top of. So here's a quote from one of the popes. I believe that the church not only should apologize to the person who is gay, whom it has offended, but it has to apologize to the poor, to the exploited women, to children exploited for labor. It has to ask forgiveness for having blessed many weapons. That's a little ironic considering what the Vatican has done to make sure that it's always protected and people never expose them. This is Pope John Paul I, and he died 33 days after his election. Now, the conspiracy around his death is that he found out the Vatican was laundering mass amounts of money, and he was going to rectify the situation of getting rid of everybody in the Vatican that was corrupt. His plans were announced straight after he became the Pope, and he died 33 days later. In 2015, it was uncovered that...
Why 33? I wonder. Let me know down below. What do you think? No, I'm just playing, y'all. Let me know.
2 cases of child were found within the Vatican walls. And get this, not everybody involved was named. Only a couple names took the blow for everybody else in the Vatican. And then the year before that, the government actually intercepted 3 deliveries directed to the Vatican, all containing drugs. Cocaine was found in condoms inside of these 3 deliveries that were intercepted. They were handed over to the Vatican in hopes that somebody within the walls would disclose who this was going to, but nobody came forward. This is St. Peter's obelisk, and not a lot of people know where...
Come on, man. You really think somebody, man, that's just like the situation in the White House, man. Come on, man. Ain't nobody coming out to say what, man, who, man, y'all know better than that.
Comes from. One of Rome's cruelest emperors, Caligula, actually stole this from one of Egypt's cities, Heliopolis. Stole it from Egypt and he transported it to Rome. And you know what he did with it? It was used to murder and execute Christians. They would round up every single Christian that they could find, chain them, bound them, bring them to the obelisk, and brutally murder them. Vatican.
Gruesome. It's too gruesome for the tube.
books is called the Grand Grimoire or the Red. And this book is about black magic. It harnesses spells and rituals, but many believe this is the book that they use to summon the devil when they are selling their souls. Kind of like the Book of the Illuminati. The conspiracies of the Vatican can go on and on and on. It's truly a never-ending cycle. One thing we do know, the people in the Vatican are evil and corrupt. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!
I mean, you can't just be going around saying that about people. That's kind of rude on the cool unless you have real proof. I wouldn't just say that about everybody. You know what I mean? But hey, man, it's crazy, man. This is a crazy world out here, man. It's getting weirder and weirder every day. Man, if y'all was thinking about skipping, man, I wouldn't skip if I was y'all. Man, you definitely gonna miss some stuff that y'all gonna want to see or hear for real, though. You know, for pure entertainment purposes only. Man, y'all don't forget to share, and like, and comment. If y'all can, please, it helps my videos hit the algorithm, get more views, and hopefully get some more subs, because they definitely been messing with my numbers, man, because I've been getting like 1 sub, 2 or 3 subs, maybe 4 subs a day. And come on, man, let's be realistic, y'all. Like, I'm not trying to be like my head up in the sky like cocky or nothing, but like, come on, man. Like, I know the videos ain't that bad. Come on, man, y'all. Let me know in the comment section what y'all think, though. Let's get it. Thank y'all.
So a month ago, I was talking about how the Vatican scares the absolute shit out of me. And so I started reading a real PDF document called The Secrets of the Vatican. And I'm going to tell you 5 things that the Vatican is hiding that no one knows about. I will warn you, some of these secrets are very eerie, and they actually will have you thinking about what's going on present day as well as what is to come. So if you're someone who scares easily, just scroll. Secret number 1. The Bible actually contained 80 chapters, and now the Bible has 66. The Vatican actually took these missing chapters out of the Bible and they keep them. The name of these chapters in the Bible are actually quite mystical. Some of those books that were taken, there were 18, and now the remaining number of chapters is 66, which is weird in itself. But here are some of them that say, like, the Book of Giants, the Book of Psalms, and it said that some of these books actually contain myths of sirens, mermaids, giants, and things of that nature, which kind of makes sense of why they would take them out. And the Vatican has these, by the way. And
man, y'all can find some of these. You know, they say the Vatican got them and stuff. Man, y'all can find some of them other missing books online and stuff. All you got to do is look them up. You know, you might even find, you know, a few clips of some of these, you know, because all this stuff get leaked sooner or later. Believe that, and y'all know I ain't lying.
What I think they said 1615, they actually removed these books from the Bible. This includes the missing chapter, the story of Bel and the Dragon, the Apostles' Creed, the Apocalypse of Abraham. Yeah, that freaks me out. Fact number 2, there were 3 children that were said to have seen the Virgin Mary, and the Virgin Mary bestowed upon them 3 secrets, 1 for each individual child. These are the children, Lucia, Francisco, and Jaquita. I don't really know how to say her name. I probably butchered it. But over the course of time, these secrets were kept private. Like, nobody knew what they were because the children didn't want to speak until one of them said that she was going to speak for all 3 of them. This lady, like, held on to these secrets until she released 2 secrets. One of those secrets was about her giving a depiction of hell, what hell looked like, and it's pretty eerie. I mean, you can go look it up, and she gives a very detailed description. And then the second one, which was before either one of these things happened, World War I and World War II, she said that God would call for a war on man, and he would end the World War I, but there will be another World War II if they didn't appease God. And sure enough, it happened. But what's kind of crazy is The third secret. The third secret of Fatima was kept quiet the longest. It wasn't until the Pope actually ordered her to tell him what the third secret was, and she did so by writing it on a letter and putting it in an envelope and sealing it with wax, and she told the Pope, do not open it until 1960. This third secret is the most controversial and still to this day is the most prominent because it was a premonition about what would happen in 20th and 21st century from Fatima. So I'm going to explain it more, but this is just a summary of all three. But the third one, which is the most prominent, it says that in the 20th century, it would be the persecution of Christians that would bring on the apocalypse. She said the 20th and the 21st century, there would be people in army gear that would start to kill Christians. Yeah. That's what she said she saw in her vision, and this would unappease God, and this would bring forth the apocalypse. The third secret is about aliens.
It's pretty deep. Pretty deep, y'all. Pay attention, because we almost to them times, y'all. If y'all ain't paying attention to the all the new laws and stuff that they pass and everything that's going on. Pay attention.
In the archives, it is said that they have proof that aliens came and helped ancient Sumerians as well as ancient people create massive structures and even history of nuclear weapons back in Egyptian times. So if you have ever heard of the Anunnaki, yes. They're real, and actual evidence of them exists in the Vatican archives that is like 38 meters underground. I have to do a part 2 with the other 2 facts, so stay tuned and I'll post that.
Man, y'all, what y'all think about that, man? All this stuff was written, man. Man, I heard about all this. I'm not gonna say heard, I read all this over 10 years ago, man. Really though, it's all been, over the time, it's all been coming, like, you know, a little bit coming to light, coming true, you know, everything, a lot, you know, as time goes by. It's almost that time. If you know, you know.
The Vatican hides a lot of things because the same buildings that are at the Vatican are the same buildings that were in San Francisco. And before the World Fair of San Francisco, they got rid of all the buildings that look like the Vatican. That was that whole reset. And what's interesting is there's a book from 1907 that talks about how when the San Francisco World Fair whole thing took place, that they tried to put out the fires with TNT and dynamite. TNT and dynamite to put out fires. Never heard of that before. Anytime there's a fire, I've never heard of anybody using TNT and dynamite. I've also never heard of them using cannons. They also talked about how they use cannons against the fire. So the same buildings that are in San Francisco are the same buildings that are in the Vatican. They're just going to try to point your eyes at the Vatican and say that they own that land, when in reality, those buildings and that type of style of architecture was all over the world. They just capitalized on it. And what's funny is the fires only burnt the tops of the buildings and certain parts of the building, but other parts of the building were completely untouched. Reminds me of a lot of 1893 Chicago, 1901 St. Louis, and 1901 Buffalo, New York. Only certain things burn and only certain things crumble.
Shit crazy, ain't it? The motherfuckers say they try to put the fires out with explosives, TNT. Come on, man. Dynamite, man, that don't even make sense.
What's the biggest real conspiracy ever uncovered? Charlemagne's father, Pepin the Short, invaded Italy in the 8th century, and what happened next involves the most significant and long-lasting fraud in history. You see, Pepin invaded Italy in order to save the Pope from the Lombards, but even though they were allies, the Pope was afraid that Pepin would eventually desire all of Italy for himself. This was a problem because the popes have been acting as the de facto rulers of central Italy ever since the fall of the Roman Empire. But now if the church wasn't careful, they could lose their independence and end up once more subordinate to a secular power. Fearing this, the church presented Pepin with a document known as the Donation of Constantine. They claimed that 400 years earlier, the first Christian Roman Emperor Constantine the Great had written this document, granting dominion of the city of Rome and its surrounding territories to the Pope and his successors. Pepin chose to honor this agreement, and this became the legal basis for the creation of the Papal States, whose existence would shape the face of Europe for the next 1,000 years. This document was believed to be authentic for the entirety of the Middle Ages, but new evidence came to light in the 15th century, and now even the Catholic Church accepts that the donation of Constantine was the most significant and consequential forgery in history.
What? They said it was a fraud.
Let's see what else Johnny Bravo has to say.
Be Jesus right there. That's the main church in the Vatican. That's in the Vatican. That's the serpent cathedral.
That's dope. Hey,
look at the fangs and look at the eyes.
That is a serpent.
Come on.
Look at the tongue that comes out of the
Vatican's
fangs.
been
That's
pretending
amazing.
they're into Christ. They're not into Christ. They want to destroy Christ. The Vatican has the biggest telescopes in the world.
Okay, so what he showed there was a picture of Pope Paul VI Hall, which was constructed, I think, sometime in the 70s. And guys, that picture that he showed, that's not what it looks like. You can actually Google images of Pope Paul VI Hall and see what it really looks like. That's not what it looks like. That picture that he shows on the podcast is actually a picture using a fisheye lens, and that's why it looks like that. But if you're there in person, or if you just look at pictures of it with a regular lens, it doesn't look like that. The way that it looks is that there's an oval window on one side of the building, and then there's another oval window on the other side of the building. So it's on the side. So inside it has no resemblance to a snake or a serpent whatsoever. Somebody just happened to take a picture standing at the entrance of the hall and used a fisheye lens and saw that with that fisheye lens it looked like a snake, it looked like a serpent, but it doesn't look like that in person. It doesn't look like that when you don't manipulate the lens that you're using to take the picture of it. That wasn't the intention of the architects who built it. Again, if you look up pictures of it online, it's just a regular building. It's just a regular...
Man, shut up, man. Y'all go look it up, man. Y'all, let's go look it up and see, and y'all get back with me in the comment section, man. I just couldn't do it no more, man. His voice, it just sounded like it was fraud, like he was faking it, like trying too hard, like he was faking it for the camera, like, you know, oh, man, come on. Hurry up and finish. No, I ain't trying to be rude, y'all, but I'm pretty sure y'all get the same feeling, man. Let's get done.
hall that is used to hold large audiences. So this is a little dishonest. Joe Rogan, I've actually seen the full clip of this from Joe Rogan's podcast. If you go back and you watch this, even Joe Rogan knows this, and you go back and you watch, and Joe Rogan kind of brushes it off, and he's like, no, he says, let's talk about St. Peter's Basilica. That's something that's actually impressive, because Joe Rogan is really smart, and he knew that this wasn't legit. Eddie Bravo's not that smart, though.
They have one called Lucifer. They're the ones who are creating the...
Oh, right. So another charge against the Catholic Church.
Come on, man. Shout out to them, man. That's a crazy clip. Let's get it, though.
Pieces of land.
Listen, I was with you.
Google the very large array.
It's called the Very Large Telescope. I watched the documentary with you.
Pay attention, y'all. Go do your research on them symbols and stuff. I ain't gonna say nothing else.
Deep within the Vatican walls, a treasure trove of ancient Egyptian artifacts has been kept under lock and key for centuries. The collection is a mystery that has drawn in scholars, historians, and curious adventurers from around the world. But what is it about these relics that has drawn them to the Vatican, and what secrets might they hold? As you make your way through the dimly lit halls of the Egyptian Museum, you can't help but feel a sense of excitement building within you. Each object seems to hold a story, a piece of history waiting to be uncovered. The intricate hieroglyphics etched into the walls, the beautifully crafted sarcophagi, and the ornate amulets and jewelry all speak to a time and a culture that is both fascinating and mysterious. But as you delve deeper into the collection, you begin to realize that there is more to these artifacts than meets the eye. Could there be secrets hidden within these ancient texts, secrets that could change the course of history or reveal the truth about our world? Rumors have long circulated about the Vatican's...
Of course there are. Of course it is, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below. Is it some life-changing technology down there, ancient technology down there, or ancient knowledge down there hidden in the cellars of the Vatican? The Vatican, the notorious Vatican. Y'all let me know down below in the comment section.
Collection of Egyptian artifacts, with some suggesting that there are texts that contain forbidden knowledge. ancient spells and incantations that hold the power to change the world. Others claim that there are artifacts that have been deliberately kept from public view, for fear that they might reveal something that would shatter our understanding of history and the world we live in. Do the artifacts kept here expose the extraterrestrial secret of our distant past? And yet, despite the mystery and intrigue that surrounds these relics, the Vatican has kept its secrets well guarded. The collection of Egyptian artifacts stored within its walls is a testament to the enduring fascination and allure of ancient Egypt. But what other secrets might be hidden within the Vatican's hallowed halls, waiting to be discovered by those who have the courage to seek them out?
Shout out to him, man. Y'all go show him some love, man. Follows, you know what I'm saying? Show him some support like y'all show me, man. I appreciate all the love, man, because I couldn't do it without them and their channels and their content. And I couldn't do it without y'all love and support, man. For real, for real. I appreciate all that. You know what I'm saying?
Please tell me that you already knew that the Vatican has miles of a hidden secret library that is forbidden to the public. Oh, you didn't know? 53 miles of shelving, 35,000 volumes of
53 miles of hey, man. We got say, man, that's too much stuff. Why they need 53 miles for all this stuff, man? Why can't we have our hands, you know what I'm saying, on this technology, you know what I'm saying, on this stuff? 53 miles, man, that's a long, man, come on, man, that's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff.
catalog. 12 centuries worth of history. Do you really think with that kind of
12 centuries, man, what the hell y'all think is under that under the Vatican, man? For real though, because that is crazy. 12 centuries, 53 miles, probably even more. You know what I'm saying? That's just what we know. You know what I'm saying? That's just how much we know, what we know as the public, man, for real. That's
library, that we know the true history of the world. Just imagine what they have down there. Supposedly, it's just record keeping of the papacy with a few letters from renowned figures throughout history, but I'm convinced that these shelves hold a lot more than what they say they do. There's a reason why this library is forbidden to the general public. It's probably a lot of stuff that interferes with the generally accepted narrative of our history. Leave a comment, let me know what you think, and follow for more. God bless.
What y'all think is hidden under the Vatican? Let me know down below.
If you've watched the last 2 episodes of the Inquisition series, The Conspiracy of Chronology, outlining the proof of colonial powers by way of the Vatican altering and disguising history, and Mafioso, detailing how the Pope has gained control over most of the world and the people in it by means of papal bulls, you'd see that the objective of the Roman Catholic Church is to gain legal and political jurisdiction over the original civilizations of Earth by means of ecclesiastical systems and the altering of cultural or religious narratives for means of gain.
The Vatican
Cold
about
blooded.
5 miles of archives underground and very, very secure access. In other words, you can't just go, I'm going to go check out the archives underground. No, you have to be a security cleared, almost top secret cleared based on their standards to get down there. But they have in there so many incredible discoveries, so much knowledge and wisdom that have been stolen, literally stolen from all around the world. And of course, the Library of Alexandria, that was a book heist. The fire was a distraction. The real story of Alexandria, it was a book heist. It was a knowledge theft. They stole the knowledge. They left a few books burning here and then they burned it down to the ground. But the vast majority of the knowledge and wisdom stored at Alexandria was siphoned off and taken to that underground, I call it an underground base at the Vatican. Down there also, according to even some Jesuits, are bones of actual quote-unquote alien beings, information about advanced beings that visited this planet, the Anunnaki.
Man, y'all know how he is, man. You gotta take what he say with a grain of salt, cause he gonna say it's like 5 miles of space under the Vatican with this knowledge and all these artifacts and relics or whatever. But we just hear all these other clips and these people always say 53, 52, 50 something, 50 or more miles. Come on, man. He got to stop misleading. He gonna give you a little bit of truth and a little bit of BS. I tell y'all that every time. And he never proves us wrong. He never proved me wrong with that. For real, though.
It's crazy how empires rise and fall.
Mike, I got a hot take on this.
Please.
I don't think they do. So I don't think the Roman Empire fell. I think it became a church. I think the Rome fell, but the Roman Empire became the church. Where's all the money from the Roman Empire?
The Vatican.
In the basement of the Vatican is where it is. Yeah, that's. So Roman Empire became a church. British Empire became a bank. Ooh. So we gave our empire back. Said, oh yeah, sorry about that. You can have that back. We gave, Saudi Arabia back and all these other places that we'd sort of we're taking the resources, and then they had their own money. And then we went, oh well, what are you doing with that money? Because we've got this thing called the City of London. I tell you what, it's your money, but we're going to hold it.
So what if I told you that the Vatican is built on an ancient initiation site to the pagan mother goddess, and that the structure of the buildings is meant to replicate a mystery school temple from Egypt? It's a fact, and I don't even need to work that hard for this one. I'm going to start with some mainstream sources, and this is a Roma Archaeologica magazine that I actually picked up at the Vatican years ago. The topic for this issue is I culti orientali a Roma, which is the Oriental or Eastern cult in Rome. Now you have to remember that the way the church propagandizes against Gnostic beliefs is to call them cults, and in this case they call them Eastern cults because they are said to come from Turkey and Persia. Mithraism, the cults of Sybil and Attis, as you can see a map here that is around Rome. And again for the so-called cults of Isis and Serapis and their sites around Rome, and for the so-called cults of Jupiter around Rome, and finally a map of the Mithraeums, the underground initiation vaults that were used in the Mithraic mysteries. Well, golly gee, there sure are a conspicuous amount of pagan and Gnostic initiation sites all over Rome. One such site is called the Basilica of San Clemente. It's just south of the Colosseum. And you can see they built a basilica on top of an initiation chamber, a Mithraeum. Now you can still access that Mithraeum today. The Mithraeum was basically the basilica's basement. It had always been accessible. They've been doing archaeological excavations to see if it spreads out, but they've always been able to access it through the church, which again is very interesting. So what does this have to do with the Vatican? Well, these smaller Mithraeums and temples were spread out around the area like small local churches. They were for common use. The Vatican sat on a much more important structure. It was built smack on top of the main Mithraeum and initiation center. If we go back to the Roma Archaeologica magazine, we see that there was what they are calling a Phrygianum on Vatican Hill. And if I translate the Italian, it says that regional catalogs make mention that there was a Phrygianum and a Gaianum in the Vatican. Don't be fooled by these words. This is part of the goofy bullshit little kid word games that these people play to hide what's right in front of you. A Phrygianum is just a made-up word that they put in place of a Mithraeum. Phrygia was said to be the center of Turkey, or around the area of Cappadocia, which was said to be a head area for Mithraism. And there are a lot of underground churches and initiation centers there that I'll get to in other videos. A Gaianum is a much more interesting word. A Gaianum is a place where you go to worship Gaia, Mother Earth. And we see that a Gaianum is an adjective for a place of worship similar to that of other Oriental deities such as Isis, Serapis, Jupiter, and indicating a place of worship for Gaia, the Earth, which is also correlated to Sybil. And if we move on to the next page, we've got a nice picture of the Vatican and St. Peter's Cathedral showing the Phrygianum, the Temple of Gaia. The approximate location, in reality, the Temple of Gaia is part of the catacombs under the cathedral. We also have some interesting pictures of altars that they pulled out from the site, such as the altar of the Great Mother of the Magna Mater. And this one is interesting because here she is on an Egyptian solar bark, a ship of the afterlife, and it says, "The Mother of the Gods arriving on the ship of salvation." This is very similar to San Clemente with the Mithraeum under it that I mentioned earlier. You can go to the Vatican right now and visit the catacombs underneath and see part of these structures and see the artifacts that they pulled out of them in the Vatican Museum. You can also visit the tomb of St. Peter right under St. Peter's Cathedral. And isn't it interesting that this is kind of a tongue-in-cheek hint that they built the basis of Christendom. They built their church literally on top of goddess worship. There's so much detail I could go into about this, but it'd be an hour-long video. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll do a Q&A video later. So now, how about we move on to the Vatican being an Egyptian temple? And that'll be in part 2, so check it out.
Boy, that was crazy. I hope y'all was paying attention, man, because these video clips are getting deep, man. Like I said, if y'all was thinking about skipping, man, I definitely wouldn't skip now, because it's only getting better and it's only getting deeper, man. Y'all, let's get it. Show some love. Hit that like button. Share. Please comment. Give me y'all opinion. Let's get it. The show must go on.
Most people are probably going to dismiss this as insignificant or not a big deal, but let me know what you think. So this is Vatican City. You see that nice obelisk there? Well, the city of London and Washington, D.C. also have obelisks. And despite Vatican City being surrounded by Italy, it is not actually a part of Italy. It has its own government, its own police force, and the same goes for Washington, D.C. It's not actually a part of the U.S. It's its own territory. It has its own police force, its own government. Look, City of London, which is in the middle of London, you'd think it's a part of London, but it's actually its own city-state with its own government and its own police force. Although the City of London falls under the jurisdiction of Greater London and the GLA, it has its own special status, its own government, its own mayor, and its own independent police force. So there is some spiritual significance to this. The City of London being the financial center, the Vatican City being the religious center, and Washington, D.C. being the military center of the world. The other crazy thing is we know the Vatican Archives is miles and miles of library underground in the Vatican, ancient books and things. Well, this is where the...
No, we don't. West South Line. We don't know nothing about up under there, man. We think we know, but you think you know. We'll just say it like that.
Pope speaks inside of this big hall, it's called, and that's a very interesting looking design behind him. But this is more interesting. Well, that building he was in, just pictured, looks like the side of a snake. The inside, like he stands back there and talks, and that looks pretty reptile-like. Because of the odds of making this look like that by accident are very slim. We got to ask ourselves why they did it.
I was always taught that the serpent was the reason behind humanity's downfall, so I'm confused as to why the Pope is speaking from the mouth of one.
Shout out to Magical, man, and shout out to the creator of that video, because that was a good clip, because it definitely broke down a lot, man. I hope y'all was paying attention, for real. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that down below in the comment section.
When you see someone like the Pope, and he's got the staff,
Kind of remind you of something?
So I want to make sure we get into the Vatican. Okay. You go down this elevator. Yes. You're on an invited mission to try to figure out what the heck this tetrahedron thing is.
Right.
So what do you see? Let's first just tell me what the elevator looked like. Anything unusual about the elevator?
No, it was a very large elevator, larger than normal. You could fit a car in it.
Oh, wow.
Normal elevator, very clean.
Okay. Round, square?
No, square.
Okay.
Yeah, rectangular, yeah.
So the door...
Man, I don't know, man. I think he capping, but y'all let me know what y'all think down below in the comment section, man. How else could he come up with all this stuff, man? Or do he just got a good imagination? I don't know. Like I said, I think he might be capping though.
Was built as a covered passage which people would not see what was going on inside it. And of course, all sorts of stories emerge of popes going to meet their mistresses in Castel Sant'Angelo, or going to see the execution of somebody they particularly hated.
The Vatican was not always surrounded by a wall. In fact, a transformative event had to occur before the Pope decided he had to better protect himself.
In 846, the Saracens take Ostia and they then advance on Rome. They don't enter the city, but they sack the suburban churches. It's certainly a terrible shock to Western Christendom. This is a very important event for the history of the Vatican because it triggers the building of a wall which is begun in 848.
It took 4 years to complete the wall. Today, only a few sections remain.
It's built entirely of Roman bricks with some great blocks of stone, but it's probably about 8 meters high, 2.5 meters thick, with towers along it, about 22 or 25 towers. And that wall links Castel Sant'Angelo to the Vatican Hill up behind St. Peter's, and then runs down the other side, forming a long rectangular strip, which is about 3 kilometers long.
Man, I ain't even gonna lie, I don't think he was where he say he was at, man, because them things, the designs on the side of the vehicle said BC, not BG. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below, though. I might be tripping or half blind.
Rothschilds come from the Orsini family. Roth means red in German, and the Orsini means red bear, little red bears. That's what Orsini means. The Grey Pope is Pepe Orsini. He trumps the black, he trumps the white Pope.
The Grey Pope is even higher than the black and the white Pope.
The Orsini is the Maxima family. They are the maximum family. They are on top. And somehow they've trumped the Colonna and the Farnese, which I know without any doubt through all my studies that they are the 3 most powerful Illuminati.
What about Rothschild and Rockefeller?
Well, they are Orsini. They just changed their name. Rockefeller were Rothschilds. Rothschilds were Orsini. Orsini were a family which have their lines in Babylon and Egypt. They tell you that. You read their biographies. They'll tell you that. We go back to Nimrod. They tell you that. The Rothschilds say that. We go back to Nimrod. How? Through the Orsini. So Rockefeller, Rothschild, Orsini, and then you go back to the Persian and Egyptian dynasties.
Crazy shit, crazy shit, crazy. Man, that's all alleged, man, because I don't know who that was, man. Y'all do your own research, though, guys. Remember that these videos for entertainment purposes. Do your own research, man. There's some educational purpose for what y'all get out of it. When y'all use your own discernment and do your own research, guys.
What are they hiding in the missing pages of the Devil's Bible? There is a mysterious 13th century book known as the Codex Gigas. Found in Prague in 1648 during the 30 Years' War, this massive book is the world's largest medieval manuscript, and nobody knows who wrote it. But there is a legend about it. According to the story, a Benedictine monk named Herman the Recluse had been sentenced to death for breaking his monastic vows. In a last-ditch attempt to save his life, he said he would create a book filled with all human knowledge in a single night. Realizing this was an impossible task, Herman called upon the devil himself and struck a deal to scribe the manuscript to win his freedom at the cost of his soul. And its prominent illustration of the devil within its pages earned it the nickname, the Devil's Bible. Now, according to the story, the book was completed in one night, a task that historians say would have taken one person over 20 years to complete. The original book contained 320 pages that included the Latin Bible and various writings on exorcism, medical knowledge, and magic. However, somewhere along the way, 10 pages were ripped out, and to this day, their whereabouts and contents are unknown. Some believe these missing pages contain secret and forbidden knowledge, and that those who wielded it caused things like the Black Plague and other disasters. Even though the Codex Gigas can be seen in a museum in Stockholm, Sweden today, many people are still asking the question.
Boy, shit crazy. Something to make your mind wonder, man, but it's something like that I don't really want to think too hard on. Y'all let me know what y'all think, though, in the comments.
Operation Northwoods. Quote, we could blow up a U.S. ship in Guantanamo Bay and blame Cuba. Or, quote, sink a ship near the harbor entrance and conduct funerals for mock.
This one crazy, y'all. Really pay attention, though. Think of the maturing candidate when you hear this next statement, what they saying. That I just entered.
Victims.
But that's the thing you didn't know, the thing you'd never think to check. Those people were already dead before the bomb went off. That's what I'm saying.
What you are looking at is Operation Northwoods, the unclassified document dated March 13th, 1962. This unclassified document is widely available online, and all you have to do is search for Operation Northwoods PDF or Northwoods PDF and you'll find it. It's been available for a while, but most people have no idea what it says. Let's take a look at it together and see if we can find anything strange. So when you're reading this document, it pretty much says that the US military wants to go to war with Cuba and they don't have a real reason to, so they want to create one. And this Operation Northwoods is their idea to create a war with Cuba. Let's see what it says. Okay, so page 7, you go down to paragraph 1. Quote, since it would seem desirable to use legitimate provocation as the basis for U.S. military intervention in Cuba, a cover and deception plan to include requisite preliminary actions such as been deployed in response to Task 33C could be executed as an initial effort to provoke Cuban reactions. Harassment plus deceptive actions to convince the Cubans of imminent invasion would be emphasized. Our military posture throughout the execution of the plan would allow a rapid change from exercise to intervention if Cuban response justifies. Paragraph 2. A series of well-coordinated incidents will be planned to take place in and around Guantanamo to give genuine appearance of being done by hostile Cuban forces. Incidents to establish a credible attack, not in chronological orders. So basically they're saying here what they're going to do to start an attack. Number 1, they're going to start rumors using clandestine radios. They're going to land friendly Cubans in uniforms over the fence to stage an attack on the base. They're going to capture Cuban territory. They're going to start riots near the main base. They're going to blow up stuff in the base and have fires and all that. And then it gets interesting. It says on number 10, sabotage a ship in the harbor, large fires, and then you go down to number 11, it says sink ship near harbor entrance, conduct funerals for mock victims, and then it says maybe in lieu of 10. So they're saying here they want to sink a ship near the harbor and conduct funerals for mock victims. That seems kind of strange. Let's continue reading. B.
If y'all, it seemed kind of familiar too. If y'all thinking, I ain't saying that's what happened to those people, but hey, kind of ring a bell.
United States would respond by executing offensive operations to secure water and power supplies, destroying artillery and mortar emplacements which threaten the base. C. Commence large-scale United States military operations. And then paragraph 3, quote, a remember the Marine incident could be arranged in several forms. A. We could blow up a U.S. ship in Guantanamo Bay and blame Cuba. B. We could blow up a drone unmanned vessel anywhere in Cuban waters. We could arrange to cause such an incident in the vicinity of Havana or Santiago as a spectacular result of a Cuban attack from the air, sea, or both. The presence of Cuban planes or ships merely investigating the incident of the vessel could be fairly compelling evidence that the ship was taken under attack. The nearness to Havana or Santiago would add credibility, especially to those that might have heard the blast or seen the fire. The U.S. could follow up with an air-sea rescue operation covered by U.S. fighters to, quote, evaluate remaining members of the non-existent crew. Casualty lists in U.S. newspapers would cause a helpful wave of national indignation. I mean, this is shocking stuff, right? Let's move on. Number 4. We could develop a communist Cuban terror campaign in the Miami area, in other Florida cities, and even in Washington. The terror campaign could be pointed at Cuban refugees seeking haven in the United States. We could sink a boatload of Cubans en route to Florida, real or simulated. We could foster attempts on lives of Cuban refugees in the United States, even to the extent of wounding in instances to be widely publicized. Exploding a few
Boy, this shit crazy. It get deep, man. These people are treacherous, man.
plastic bombs in carefully chosen spots, the arrest of Cuban agents, and the release of prepared documents substantiating Cuban involvement would also be helpful in projecting the idea of an irresponsible government. And then it goes into some very interesting details. Number 6, use of MiG-type aircraft by U.S. pilots could provide additional provocation. Let that sink in for a minute. The United States military wanted to put U.S. military personnel in foreign planes and use those people to start a war, pretending like they're somebody else. This is unbelievable. Let's continue reading. Harassment of civil air.
This is all alleged, guys. Alleged. I'm not saying this is true. This is a big if. It's if. But if this is true, boy, these people is treacherous as hell. Boy, they do anything to get what they want, man. I'm telling you, boy, this is crazy, man. Crazy work.
Attacks on surface shipping and destruction of U.S. military drone aircraft by MiG-type planes would be useful as complementary actions. An F-86 properly painted would convince air passengers that they saw a Cuban MiG, especially if the pilot of the transport were to announce such a fact. The primary drawback to this suggestion appears to be the security risk inherent in obtaining or modifying an aircraft. However, reasonable copies of the MiG could be produced from U.S. sources in about 3 months. Number 7, quote, hijacking attempts against civil air and surface craft should appear to continue as harassing measures condoned by the government of Cuba. Concurrently, genuine defections of Cuba, civil and military air, and surface craft should be encouraged. Number 8, it is possible to create an incident which will demonstrate convincingly that a Cuban aircraft has attacked and shot down a chartered civil airliner en route from the United States to Jamaica, Guatemala, Panama, or Venezuela. The destination would be chosen only to cause the flight plan route to cross Cuba. The passengers could be a group of college students off on a holiday, or any grouping of persons with a common interest to support chartering a non-scheduled flight. An aircraft at Elgin Air Force Base would be painted and numbered an exact duplicate for a civil registered aircraft belonging to a CIA proprietary organization in the Miami area. At a designated time, the duplicate would be substituted for the actual civil aircraft and would be loaded with the selected passengers, all boarded under carefully prepared aliases. The actual registered aircraft would be converted into a drone. Takeoff times for the drone and the actual aircraft will be scheduled to allow a rendezvous south of Florida. From the rendezvous point, the passengers carrying the aircraft will descend to a minimum altitude and go directly into an auxiliary field at Elgin Air Force Base, where arrangements will be made to evacuate the passengers and return the aircraft to its original status. The drone aircraft, meanwhile, will continue to fly the filed flight plan. When over Cuba, the drone will be transmitting on the international distress frequency a Mayday message stating he is under attack by a Cuban MiG aircraft. The transmission will be interrupted by the destruction of the aircraft, which will be triggered by radio signal. This will allow ICAO radio stations in the Western Hemisphere to tell us what has happened to the aircraft, instead of us trying to sell the incident. Number 9. It is possible to create an incident which will make it appear that the communist Cuban MiGs have destroyed a U.S. Air Force aircraft over international waters in an unprovoked attack. So what do you think about this document? What do you think about all the crazy things that the United States government was willing to do in order to start a war? And do you think that they're still willing to do these things today? Please leave a comment and let me know what you think. And until next time, thank you all for watching, and God bless you all.
Well, this shit crazy, but like I say, it's alleged, man. We can't say that's true, man, but it's alleged, y'all. If that is true, man, it's treacherous, man. It's crazy. It's evil, man, to the core. But y'all let me know what y'all think about that down below in the comment section.
Breaking news. Look, it's happening, and while there's absolutely no reason to fear, it's extremely wise to be aware of the things taking place in the world around us. Our purchases are being tracked by the Biden administration and other government sources. Well, one might say, duh, obviously. There's one major thing that I think Christians should be aware of, and that does raise concern. As we move more and more towards a digital age when it comes to purchasing, shopping, all of that, the government is able to see what it is we purchase. People who purchase Bibles are now added to a list of people that are labeled extremists or who might be marked with suspicious behavior. Look, scripture is very clear that Christians will face persecution, and let's just be honest, in America, persecution has been very limited. As we see this type of thing taking place, the reality is that Christians are moving closer and closer to a time where I believe we will see real persecution of Christians here in America. As society becomes more and more godless, the views of Christians do tend to be labeled as extreme because God's word goes against what culture says is good and acceptable. So should we be concerned? Yeah. Is it cause to be fearful and worry? Absolutely not. We know the outcome. God is in control, and in the end, God wins.
You know who that is?
Absolutely right. And like I said in part 1, man, if you know, you know. It's about that time. This was all written, and it's like I said, the time has come. You know what time it is. It's time to get right with them. Let's get it.
The most powerful man in the world, P.P. Orsini, alias Domenico Napoleon Orsini, the Great Pope. Chief of the Rothschilds, Chief of the Rockefellers, Head of the Vatican, Chief of the complete black nobility.
All this is alleged because I don't know how true this is, y'all. Y'all got to do your own research, like I always say, man. Don't believe anything you hear or see in these videos. Always do your own research and always use your own discernment.
You will not see these faces in the press. Time to bring them to light.
And his face was in the press, like I said.
Okay, stop scrolling. I need everyone to watch. There's a man claiming that the government are working with the Nephilim. Now, personally, I always thought the Nephilim were still here on Earth. But as I sit here and read Genesis, it's not adding up with God's word. It says all flesh that moved on earth perished. The word says, of all that was on dry land, that had the spirit of life, died. So I'm not sure. All my fellow believers, please help me out here.
The American public has no clue what is going on, and like I said, when some of this stuff starts coming to light, I totally believe that this is going to tie in, that men's hearts are going to be failing them for fear for the things that they're going to be looking upon that are coming on the earth. I believe if we're covered by the blood of Jesus Christ, that there is no fear. And like I said, I mean, that's the one thing that we can do is rebuke anything in the name of Jesus. In fact, Greg Renrich, that was one of the things that he told me. He's the one that was talking about seeing the giants in the deep underground military bases. He said that one of the first things that they had to do before he was allowed to go into S4 or S20 or any of the others, they made him sign an affidavit saying, you're not allowed to use the name Jesus Christ in these underground facilities, not even if you stub your toe or anything. And he said that he saw 10 to 25 foot tall giants in these underground bases, and said that they were, human scientists and other people were working side by side with them. He said that they even came right out and said they were the Nephilim. They came right out and said it. Said that, basically we're preparing for an intergalactic war with God. And they believe that they're going to win.
Where are they getting this they're going to win from?
And why are you not allowed to say the name Jesus in these underground facilities? And then you also got Joe Jordan. Actually interviewed him probably about a year and a half ago. Did an interview with him, and at that point, he still works at MUFON. He's still doing the CE4 research, but he said that he's already up to 600 and something plus cases that he's uncovered in MUFON, where people that were being abducted or having encounters, whenever they cried out in the name of Jesus, not only did they stop, but if they accepted Jesus as their savior, they stopped permanently. In fact, we actually encountered this when we were out shooting Hollow Earth. We went out to the White Earth, Minnesota, and while we were there talking with them, they actually took us out to eat before we went to go start work. So we stopped at this restaurant. We were sitting there eating, and Basically, Riverwind was alluding to the skinwalkers. He never came right out and said it, but I knew that's what he was talking about. So I said, oh, you're talking about the skinwalkers? And I mean, immediately, everybody in the whole establishment just stopped talking. And it just got quiet. And they immediately began to pray and started rebuking what I just said in Jesus' name.
This is definitely one of the best parts of the...
Y'all, now hold up. I know some of y'all probably like, man, what this got to do with the Vatican? But I'm telling y'all, keep watching, because you're going to definitely miss some stuff. It all ties in together, man. I'm telling you. Hey, come on now. Let's get it now.
Live streams.
And don't even worry about this, because what the Illuminati and the elites do is they take what God did and make it theirs. That's something they do. So eyes have angels' bodies are covered with eyes. That supernatural ability to see everything, that's something God created. Your spiritual being, your spiritual self, your sense, that's something God created.
But let them know how this is going to push you forward for the fight, man. Like how this is your motivation for this fight.
Ezekiel 10:12, I believe it is. Look it up. If you don't believe me. Anything you say, I say, just look it up. Just look it up. Ezekiel 10:12, please. Because everybody thinks this is a joke. It's like the movie Look Up. What's that movie, Look Up? With Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's screaming to the world, yo, the world is ending. There's an asteroid coming. Everybody's like, yo, let's take some pictures. Remember, like the times of Noah, I'm going to speak this. Like the times of Noah, people will be drinking and people will be marrying and everything, life will be this, like normal. But God's calling up to his prophets and his people to speak of his return. So yeah, while you guys laugh and while you guys think this is a joke, why do you think Cat Williams is exposing the truth? Why do you think so much truth is coming?
What's going on here?
What the hell going on here, America? We about to go in the Vatican. Let's deep dive.
Can you believe people are sitting here thinking they're worshipping in a Christian church? It's awful. And the fact you're sitting...
Come on. Big troll alert. Come on, leave them comments.
Moment. It's a religion that is actually at its very heart with the Jesuit conspiracies and secret societies. They're trying to break the veil.
Pay close attention on what's going on here. We're going to deep dive way into the Vatican and show you things that's never been seen before. Check this video. Please leave a comment below what you think about the Vatican. All the ancient knowledge is hidden in here.
This is actually a temple of the Antichrist.
He's saying the temple of the Antichrist. And you wonder why they won't let us in the Vatican, huh? Well, we all know that the indigenous people was the first people on earth and created everything. They want to cover it up in that Vatican. They don't want to let us in that Vatican, guys.
First Jesuit, Constantine, Jesuit general.
Oh, judgment coming real soon upon the world right now. It's happening right now. We're looking in Revelations right now. Judgment upon the earth. Judgment upon the Vatican. Judgment upon the Pope. Believe it.
I've been misled, but I'm saying come out of her, my people. Because this is a masquerade that is leading to the great deception.
Y'all paying attention?
Y'all see it? Y'all leave a comment below on what y'all think about this video here. Check out all the artwork on the walls.
On the surface level, it looks like a throne. It is the size of a giant, of a heavenly concept. This is representing a dead sheep. the sheep representing the Christians that aren't part of this big deception that is to come.
You know?
Excuse me, y'all.
Pay attention.
Incense. Just like we're warned, you know, burning incense. Burning incense to Baal. It seems like everything that's done here is in some way a direct inversion or blasphemy of what we're warned against.
Because they have forsaken me and have estranged this place, and have burned incense in it unto other gods, and have filled this place with the blood of innocents.
You hear me?
Y'all ain't listening.
Y'all leave a comment below with
Y'all ain't listening. Y'all ain't even listening. Y'all ain't paying attention. Y'all heard what he said about burning incense and all the other stuff. Straight blasphemy against God. Man, come on, man. Do your research.
Buy this?
What the boy, I'm creeped out. How y'all think they getting away with all this stuff, man? Camouflage, disguises. Come on, man. In real life, Mission Impossible type stuff, man. This is crazy. Let me know what y'all think about that down below. Y'all think this stuff is a joke out here? Y'all think it's a game? Come on, man. This is, man, serious business out here, man.
The Dogon tribe, what did they say? That the Nomo came from another star named Sirius B and brought them advanced knowledge of the universe. They came from space to this planet and sat with these people and taught them about star systems, planetary alignments. They taught them about every single planet in our solar system, the shape, the size, the color, the orbital periods, the equatorial periods, everything going on within our solar system and beyond. They had this advanced knowledge and still have it till this very day. They have this special ritual called the Ziggy, where they put these masks on and they do these alignment rituals only when specific stars and planets are aligned in space. And they do this with no telescope. And they know about these orbital periods of trinary star systems with no telescope. By the way, Sirius B can't even be seen by the naked eye on a great night. Because it's a failed star, it ran out of fuel, it became a white dwarf. Just like our sun is going to become a white dwarf, which is the point I was trying to make. Our sun's going to expand and it's going to shrink to a white dwarf. They even knew how much mass was in the white dwarf. You see, just because the sun shrinks down, it doesn't lose its mass. What happens is the mass is compressed and condensed. So that one spoonful, if you were able to take a spoon and take a spoonful of the mass of a white dwarf, every human being on the planet together couldn't lift it. The Dogon tribe know this. They've made that exact statement. So they understand astrophysics on a level that we had to discover much, much, much later than them. But they knew this 7,000 years ago.
One thing I must say, guys, that's all cool and all, but hey, don't fall for the boo-boo, man. That is falling. You already know, angel, you know what I'm saying, technology. Brought to us from them to man, you know, brought to man from them when they fail. Don't fall for the boo-boo, man. It was written. But do your research.
Abduction, and they're going to be set off with a great delusion. So all I'm trying to do is call people to Christ before it happens. So that's what they're going to do. That's the whole plan. There you go. I laid it out for everybody.
2 Thessalonians 2:11.
2 Thessalonians 2:11. I'm trying to tell you guys, that's the truth. It is what it is. Like I said, have I said one lie? That's all I got to say. Oh, he needs help. Oh, yeah, of course, because you're scared. And we have another spiritual warfare here, warrior here, right here. Come on. I got to bring out the fan. What is he talking about? See, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
We gave him scripture.
Have I said one lie? No lie. Thank you. She's very discerning in the spirit. She understands a lot of things that I'm saying. I've heard. She She knows things only I know, and I know things only she knows. How's that possible?
Only God.
Only God.
Only God.
Only God. So, you know, I got people backing me up. That's why everybody around me is still with me, because they know that we don't do drugs.
None.
We live for Christ.
Absolutely.
And we know how to box. That's the easy part. Doing this is the hard part. Boxing, I've been doing that since I was 7. That's the easy part.
Absolutely.
Me standing up for the truth has been one of the hardest things I think I've had to do. But with God, I was able to do it. And now, look, I'm continuing to do it. I'm not going to stop now. Nobody's going to stop me, because I'm not saying anything wrong. All right, so what's next?
Like I said, guys, it all ties in. Let's keep going.
Top 5 Vatican conspiracy theories. 1. The Vatican is hiding evidence of extraterrestrial life. The Vatican has knowledge of alien life and is actively covering up evidence to maintain its power and control over the public. One of the main pieces of evidence cited is a statement made by the
aka demonic demon tech, fallen angel tech,
former director of the Vatican Observatory, Father Jose Gabriel Funes, in 2008. He suggested that the discovery of extraterrestrial life would not contradict the Catholic faith, and that aliens could even be considered brothers in a theological sense. 2. The Vatican has a secret archive containing evidence of historical cover-ups. The Vatican's secret archive, which is not...
Hold on, I must say this. In one sense, why he would say that, because they know what we don't know. In a sense, we are like angels. Like, I want to say, a step. It's like they say, one step above, one step below angels. Down here, we are the angels of earth. You know what I'm saying? And the angels got jealous of us. You know, those are fallen angels, man. That's what they talking about. Just like they mentioned in the last part, the part 1 of the Vatican. This is the Vatican. If y'all go check that out, if y'all haven't yet, they was talking about the Anunnaki in one of the clips that they have. They know, you know, they got manuscripts and all that about the Anunnaki. They know about the Anunnaki. That's because, yeah, they know about it. That's because they know the Anunnaki are the fallen angels. Come on, man. Let's
open to the public, contains evidence of historical events that the Church has actively covered up, such as the existence of Jesus' descendants, the true nature of the Inquisition, and the Church's role in Nazi war crimes, and lost artifacts or relics, such as the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant. 3. The Vatican has ties to the Illuminati. The Vatican is secretly working with the Illuminati, a supposed secret society that aims to control world events and governments. Some believe that the Vatican is the true power behind the Illuminati.
We don't know that, y'all. Allegedly, man. It's just what he say, she say, you know.
Illuminati and uses it to control the world. Others say the Black Pope, the superior general of the Society of Jesus, the head of the Jesuit order, is controlling governments, financial institutions, and other organizations behind the scenes. 4. The Vatican is hiding evidence of time travel. The Vatican has access to time travel technology and is using it to manipulate historical events and maintain its power via a device called the Chronovisor. The Chronovisor is often attributed to an Italian priest and scientist named Father Pellegrino Ernetti, who claimed to have invented the device in the 1950s.
Hey, y'all go do y'all research on him.
Ernetti claimed that the Chronovisor was based on principles of quantum mechanics, and was able to detect and decode the residual electromagnetic radiation left behind by past events. 5. The Vatican is hiding the true identity of the Antichrist. The Vatican is hiding the true identity of the Antichrist, a figure from Christian theology who is believed to be the embodiment of evil and a harbinger of the end times. Some proponents of this theory believe that the Antichrist is actually a high-ranking member of the Vatican or an influential figure in the world.
I wonder why they will be hiding that from us. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below in the comments section.
A few days ago, multiple witnesses captured footage of strange lights in the sky over Vatican City that some claim could be signs of UFO activity. Around 9 p.m. as Pope Francis held his weekly address in St. Peter's Square, people gathered there noticed several odd glowing objects moving above. Some dismissed them as drones, but not everyone is so sure. Local resident Maria Rossi was among the crowds who spotted the unexplained lights. She managed to record video showing a cluster of eerie circular craft with bright cores, drifting silently against the dark sky. Maria brought her footage to Vatican officials, hoping they would investigate. However, they asserted no unauthorized aircraft were monitored and insisted there was a logical explanation. But when Maria's video circulated online, ufologists and conspiracy theorists pronounced it definitive proof of an alien encounter over the holy site. Some even suggest the UFOs appeared intentionally during the Pope's blessing as an extraterrestrial acknowledgement of his message. Others warn this marks an impending alien intervention on Earth itself. Mainstream scientists urge caution over jumping to otherworldly conclusions. Yet so far, no aircraft or drones have come forward to explain the sightings. With no official explanation, the identity of these curious lights over the Vatican remains shrouded in mystery. But to true believers, this event proves we may not be alone after all.
Come on, man. We know we ain't alone, but y'all gotta ask yourself, and I say it all ties in together from the first clip that y'all was like, y'all probably was like, what the hell this got to do with the Vatican? You know, they mentioned the tracking and all that, the purchases and, you know, and all that, and then they went to the Bibles and, you know, Christianity. That's because, man, it all ties in together, because when I say this, yeah, I say I believe in aliens, but I don't say aliens or UFOs in the sense of outer space, like from another planet. I mean another dimension. This is an interdimensional being, a demonic being, right? What I say, demons. So if they say they trying to trick you with the narrative to think these things that come from outer space, and there it go. And when I say that, that means like to go against the belief of God, to say God ain't real, and to say the aliens created us and not our original real creator, the God Almighty. You know what I'm saying? If y'all catch my drift, y'all catch it. If not, you gonna catch it by the end of this here. Let's get it.
And why I became an agent of the Order of the Hidden Light, a covert organization that works under the Pope's authority to study and reverse engineer the ship. The ship was discovered in the year 1506, when Pope Julius II ordered the construction of a new basilica over the site of the old one. The workers dug deep into the ground and stumbled upon a massive metal structure that spanned for kilometers. They reported their findings to the Pope, who immediately sent his trusted advisors and guards to investigate. They realized that they had found an alien spacecraft of unknown origin and purpose. The Pope decided to keep the discovery a secret from the world, fearing that it would cause panic and chaos. He also saw an opportunity to use the ship's technology for the benefit of the Church and humanity. He created the Order of the Hidden Light, a select group of priests, scientists, engineers, and soldiers who would dedicate their lives to exploring and unlocking the secrets of the ship. He also ordered the continuation of the basilica's construction, but with a hidden purpose: to conceal the entrance to the ship and to create a network of tunnels and chambers that would allow the Order to access it. I joined the Order when I was 18 years old, after my father, who was also an agent, died in a mysterious accident. He left me a letter that revealed his involvement with the Order and his wish for me to follow his footsteps. He also told me something that shocked me. The ship was not just a vessel, but a living being. He said that he had encountered a strange entity inside the ship, a form of artificial intelligence that communicated with him telepathically. He said that the entity called itself the Mother, and that it had a message for humanity. He said that he was trying to decipher the message, but he ran out of time. He urged me to find the Mother and to learn the truth. That is why I am here today, in the deepest level of the ship, where the Mother is supposed to be. I have spent years studying the ship's technology, learning its language, and hacking its systems. I have seen wonders and horrors that no one else has seen. I have also faced dangers and enemies that tried to stop me. Some of them were from outside the Order, such as rival factions, rogue agents, and alien invaders. Some of them were from within the Order, such as corrupt officials, fanatical zealots, and traitors. But I have overcome them all, with the help of my loyal friends and allies. And now, I am about to meet the Mother and to hear her message. I don't know what to expect, but I am ready for anything. I hope that my father was right, and that the Mother has something good to say. I hope that she can help us understand our place in the universe, and our destiny as a species. I hope that she can show us the way to a better future. But I also fear that she might have something else to say. Something that will shatter our beliefs, our hopes, and our dreams. Something that will change everything. I guess I will find out soon enough. I enter the chamber.
Don't fall for the boo-boo, man. Hey, that's all fallen angel technology, man. AI, all that. You just heard what he said, man. Let's get it, man. Hey, you got eyes to see, ears to hear. You got a brain to think for yourself, man. Let's get it.
Believe it or not, stargates, portals, interdimensional doorways that open into supernatural realms are real. The discovery and control of the specific locations on Earth where these gates exist is one of the most classified deep black operations conducted by military and intelligence organizations around the world. The sorcery associated with accessing and opening these gates was the most dangerous and destructive knowledge given to mankind by fallen angels. Legends of gateways and portals opening to both heavenly and hellish realms frequently appear in the tablets, scrolls, and scripts of the ancient world, including both the Old and New Testaments of the Bible.
We wanted to examine whether or not it is a biblical premise that there are specific locations on the earth where there are gateways or doorways, vortexes that connect supernaturalism with the physical world. And once we started looking at whether or not that is biblical, it was amazing how it just kind of opened up in the scripture. And now we started seeing everywhere, right? Genesis 28, Jacob has a vision and he sees, now in the King James Version of the Bible, it's called a ladder, but the Hebrew there is very interesting in that it seems to describe a spiral. So was it like a spiral staircase? That's what some people have suggested, but others have said a vortex, which happens to be kind of an international symbol that you find across all cultural barriers as a symbol of a vortex, right? But in any case, Jacob sees angels ascending and descending from heaven. He comes out of that vision. He is so shook up because this is so vivid that he gets out anointing oil. He's trembling, right? And he anoints the entire place, but he says something very important. Now, a lot of people say that he said, this is the house of God. But if you read that in the Hebrew, that's not what he says. He says there is a gate here to the house of God. There is a gateway, a doorway here. Well, we found that once you started thinking about that concept, it's...
See, that's one thing about them translations, man. They can easily be mistranslated, man, for real. We got to learn our own, you know what I'm saying? We got to learn these tongues ourselves, man, so we can speak this and read it ourselves, man. Because we can't always go through somebody else's interpretation of what's being read or whatever, because it's always going to be their own 2 cents or their own understanding at it instead of what's really going on in the, you know what I'm saying, in the message.
And from the Old Testament through the New Testament, Jesus arrives. He's talking about the windows of heaven and how from henceforth you'll see the windows of heaven open and angels ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. It's an Old and New Testament principle. Now, we also found that, like the Apache Indian have done, the scripture often combines the location of these gateways to mountainous regions. Remember how Moses, whenever he's going to meet with God, he has to go to the top of the Mount Sinai. Look at how when Jesus returns, it says his feet will touch the top of the Mount of Olives, and then he will descend down to the earth. In the apocryphal book of Enoch, it talks about the 200 watchers that descended in the days of Jared. But how do they come down? They come down from the top of Mount Hermon, down into the valley of the plains, and then they begin their illegal activity. Jesus later, years later, is standing at the base of Mount Hermon. He is standing there with his disciples in Caesarea Philippi, and that's the location where the Greeks, by that time, had built mystical doorways into the base of that mountain, and actually in commemoration of the legends that dated back to the watchers descending on that mountain. And it's there where Jesus is standing with his disciples, and he says, the gates of hell will not prevail against my church.
In the 9th chapter of the book of Revelation, a star falls from heaven to the earth. He is given the key to the bottomless pit. When he opens the abyss, a great smoke arises and all hell breaks loose.
And up out of this gateway of the earth come these terrible insectoids that begin tormenting unrighteous humanity, right? That's on the face of the earth. Many people, though, don't know that there's something very intriguing in that same chapter. Chapter 9 of Revelation ends by saying something extraordinary. It says that those people who are being tortured by these insectoids, these transgenic beings that come up out of the underworld, who have a king over them called Abaddon or Apollyon, it says, and yet they repented not of their sorceries. And the Greek word there, sorcery, is pharmakia. Now, what is pharmakia? In the biblical context, and the reason it was forbidden, a pharmakia is the use of technology and sorcery for the express purpose of opening a doorway which God has closed in order to put ourselves in contact with what is behind it. It's the use of sorcery to open metaphysical doorways, gateways. So imagine this, that in Revelation 9, where the gates of the earth open and these terrible things come up and start torching humanity, it ends by saying, and yet they repented not of their pharmakia, of their effort to open doorways to the metaphysical world. So it's almost as if God is saying, you asked for it, you got it.
We are approaching another Tower of Babel moment on the earth. Another Nimrod is arising. The rebellion and sorcery of the Sumerians is reigniting in the hearts of men. Soon, forbidden gates.
Man, that's crazy, man. Could Elon be our today's now Nimrod? That just clicked in my brain like a light bulb, because they always compare him to the Antichrist nowadays. That is crazy, because they say, you know, Nimrod was, you know, ruler, and they tried to have the Tower of Babel to reach up to the sky to God, which could have very well been a spaceship or a rocket, because look how it's shaped. They said Tower of Babel. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reaching. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that in the comments.
Will be opened, and the man of sin will appear. Even now, theological foundations are being laid in anticipation of the arrival of a superior alien race. The fish-head priests of Babylon are preparing to fulfill their occult destiny and welcome from heaven the return of the gods.
Fish-head priest. Do y'all get it? The fish-head priest from Babylon. The cat, the hat. Oh. Okay, I hope y'all got me without me having to say it. I ain't trying to get in too much trouble now, you know what I'm saying?
Those who control the past determine the future. The reality of the pre-flood age has been concealed, covered over, and covered up, so that the truth of prehistory will remain forgotten, and the world will be doomed to repeat it. God said that his people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. The great deception of the future will take advantage of the ignorance of the past. Only the truth can prepare us for the lie that's coming.
You heard what he said, man. We can't let the ignorance of the past, you know what I'm saying? We got the, it ain't, it's only our fault if we don't know the truth. We got to go search for it.
For thousands of years, Luciferians have been envisioning the time in which we now live. The consummation of their ancient plan is finally drawing near. The lost knowledge of the Watchers has been recovered. Like Osiris, the Golden Age will be resurrected, and fallen angels will lead mankind in one last insurrection.
History is being repeated. The days of Noah are returning, and men's hearts will fail them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming upon the earth.
Boy, that was a good one. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the clip down below.
The Vatican is secretly preparing for the arrival of alien saviors. As crazy as that sounds, the exotheology is already being drafted. For several years now, Jesuit astronomers have been posturing themselves and their church for disclosure, speaking openly about life on other planets and the accommodation of extraterrestrials into Catholic doctrine, even declaring that if given the opportunity, they would eagerly baptize aliens.
Welcome back to The World Over. In May, Pope Francis set tongues a-wagging when in a homily during his morning mass, he referenced a visit from extraterrestrials. The media ran with it and suggested that the Catholic Church was confirming the existence of intelligent life on other planets. Joining us tonight is a man who has literally pondered the mysteries of the heavens as part of his job. He is an astronomer at the Vatican Observatory and the president of the Vatican Observatory Foundation, a Jesuit, and the co-author of the new book, Would You Baptize an Extraterrestrial? We're delighted to have joining us Brother Guy Consolmagno in studio. Great to see you, brother.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Pope Francis, during one of his morning homilies, had this to say. I'll share it with the audience. He said, imagine if, for example, tomorrow, an expedition of Martians came, green with long noses and big ears, just like children draw them, and were to say, I want to be baptized, what would happen? Here's the big question.
That sounds like a demon to me. Y'all let me know what y'all think.
Do you baptize an extraterrestrial?
Only if she asks.
Okay.
Much of what is said in...
Why he say like that, and why he say she? Why it got to be a she? Y'all let me know what y'all think about that down below, about that statement. That was weird.
Public by Vatican officials concerning aliens is tongue-in-cheek, facetious, as if their interest in extraterrestrials is more of a playful fancy than a serious consideration. But this is a very carefully calculated process of acclimation. Like the proverbial boiling frog, the masses are gradually being conditioned for disclosure without even realizing it.
If you want to change somebody's worldview, you don't just come out of the gate with an argument that is diametrically opposed to everything they believe. Use the Fabian process of gradualism. You send out these little softballs like, well, if there was an alien intelligence, we would be willing to baptize them into the Catholic faith because, after all, if they exist, they must be part of creation, so they're part of what God made. Little by little, they've changed that, though, and they've went to now saying, it's very possible that the alien intelligence is morally superior to us, because what we know about ourselves is that we are fallen.
It's crazy.
But we can't assume the same thing about the aliens. Therefore, our space brothers may know more about God and the gospel than we do. Therefore, they will be coming here to baptize us into a better understanding of the God.
Yo, in hell and fire.
It won't be us baptizing them. So the language has continued to change.
Eventually, they're going to claim that Jesus was an extraterrestrial and that life was seated on this planet by a superior race of beings thousands of years ago. And they may even produce documents and artifacts that have been locked away in their archives and vaults for centuries to prove their claim. We're talking about the greatest deception in history, and many Christians are going to fall for it because it will be so cunningly integrated into a biblical context and backed up with physical evidence.
What we know is that right now, some of the Opus Dei level theologians at the Pontifical Academy in Rome, as well as the Pope's University in Rome, are working on doctrine that very specifically has to do with religious information of an extraterrestrial source and what the impact of that might be on faith on earth. For instance, Father Giuseppe Tanzelloniti is an Opus Dei level theologian. He works at the Pontifical University, the Pope's University in Rome. And here's what he says. He says that if extraterrestrial intelligence provides information, it may cause us to have to rethink everything we have ever known and believed about the gospel. Here's a quote. He says, it would not immediately oblige the Christian to renounce his own faith in God simply on the basis of the reception of new, unexpected information of a religious character from extraterrestrial civilizations, but that such a renunciation could come soon after as the new religious content originating from outside the earth is confirmed as reasonable and credible. Let me insert here. I have no idea how you would be able to confirm extraterrestrial information that's going to alter the gospel would be reasonable and acceptable, incredible. I don't know what that process is, but let me keep going. Quote, once the trustworthiness of the information has been verified, the believer would have to reconcile such new information with the truth that he or she already knows and believes on the basis of the revelation of the one and triune God, conducting a rereading of the gospel inclusive of the new data. They seem to be preparing themselves. And not just, well, what if, maybe someday. I mean, they seem to be intentionally creating dogma that is going to position the Roman Catholic Church to be at the forefront of an official disclosure moment, the official voice piece. Well, maybe these guys are talking about this because of something that another Roman Catholic priest had talked about, Monsignor Corrado Balducci.
Corrado Balducci was an exorcist and theologian of the Vatican Curia and the foremost demonologist of the Church. During the pontificate of Pope John Paul II, ironically, Balducci also became the official spokesperson on the subject of UFOs and aliens.
Before he died, Corrado Balducci went on a series of Italian television programs talking about aliens, saying that they are real, that he had evidence that they are real. Furthermore, he said as an exorcist, he could confirm that they are not demons and they are not angels. He said they are advanced humanoid-like intelligences. But even more outstanding was what happened just before he died. He came to the United States. He agreed to be part of a documentary film in which he said not only is the Vatican aware of the alien intelligence, but there is an advanced guard of these aliens who are already here on Earth. And he said the Vatican is using their embassies from around the world both to study and survey the alien agenda, but also participating with them.
Radio host Art Bell asked the former Jesuit priest Malachi Martin about why the Vatican had muscled its way onto Mount Graham and what it was they were looking for in deep space. Malachi Martin's response ignited a firestorm of speculation.
All right, Father, the Vatican has a very, very great deal of power.
That's right.
We've talked about it. They have, whether they admit it or not, a great deal of political power all around the world. Mm-hmm. One of the things that they did fairly recently was they muscled, and I do intend to use that word, they muscled their way onto a mountain in Arizona, Mount Graham, and they built an observatory on Mount Graham in connection with an Arizona university. However, the Vatican has the larger part of the control of this observatory, looking at deep space things.
That's right.
Now, why would they have done that, Father?
Because the mentality amongst those who at the higher levels, the highest levels of Vatican administration and Vatican geopolitics know that now knowledge of what's going on in space and what's approaching us could be of great import in the next 5 years, 10 years.
Carefully and well chosen words, Father. Thank you.
This guy was no Johnny-come-lately. Malachi Martin worked under 3 popes, was favored by them. He was a formidable polyglot. He could speak 17 languages, and he could translate most extinct languages. He was the first guy that broke the news about how hundreds of young boys were being molested by what he called Luciferians, satanic priests, that he said reached all the way to the highest levels of the Vatican, among the College of Cardinals. And at the time, you know, Jesuits and others were saying he's a
Woo! That was a mouthful. It was a lot of real stuff and a lot of BS in it, man. So y'all don't fall for the boo-boo, man. Like the stuff that it was talking about with the aliens and all that, and UFOs not being demons or angels and all that. Hey, man, the world is a stage, y'all say, man. You better, like I say, do your own research and yeah, use your own discernment at all times. Let's get it, man. That was pretty deep.
In the year 1684, the Vatican removed 14 books from the Bible. To this day, there is no explanation as to why, and the Vatican is happier with the general population not knowing. There were originally 80 books in the Bible when it was translated from Latin to English back in 1611. These days there are only 66. The missing books are known as the Apocrypha, which in Greek means hidden truth. The missing books include Esdras, Tobit, Judith, the Wisdom of Solomon, the Songs of the Three Holy Children, Bel and the Dragon, Maccabees, and the Prayer for Manasseh. Even stranger is that Jesus' name was spelled Aesus before these 14 books were removed. The Church changed the pronunciation and spelling. Why were these mysterious books removed? There are many theories. Some say the contents of the books didn't fit in with the Roman Catholic Church's narrative, and so they were simply taken out. But there is no real answer. The Catholic Church chose to remove them from the Bible so that the Word of God was exactly what they wanted it to be.
Ain't that something? How many of y'all believe that? Let me know down below in the comment section.
The Ark of the Covenant is likely hidden away at the Vatican or at the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion.
There have been two major going theories in the Jewish community as to where the Ark of the Covenant is. One of them is that it's buried in the Temple Mount somewhere. The Jews saw the Romans coming and they're like, we are squirreling this away, and the easiest place to put this is like somewhere underneath here, which has been a going theory for a very long time. And then the secondary theory is that you guys have it.
At the Vatican?
It's at the Vatican.
Really?
Yeah, because there have been long-standing rumors that the Vatican inherited much of the wealth of the Roman Empire, and so after the fall of Judea, a lot of that stuff ended up being kept by the Catholic Church.
Wow. Because it's like you go into the museums and you're like, oh, there's that Raphael painting. But like, I don't know, man, you got the Ark of the Covenant. You're probably putting that in like the special locker.
If somebody were to have it, the Catholics aren't a horrible bet, considering that when you go through Rome, one of my favorite things is where it's just like a giant Egyptian obelisk, and then boom, stick a cross on it. It's like, this is ours now, bitches.
Crazy.
Vatican doesn't want you to know about this time device. In 2002, a book was released by a man named Francois Brune that revealed that time travel may already be possible. Well, you see, he claimed that in the 1950s, 12 world-renowned scientists actually cracked the code on time travel with the ability of harnessing electromagnetic sound waves that had been emitted in the past. He went on to show further proof with a photograph of Jesus's actual crucifixion. However, when questioned about the whereabouts of the device, he mentioned that the Vatican came in and confiscated it, and denying that anything of the sort ever existed. Interestingly enough, in 1988, the Vatican passed a law stating that anyone caught in possession of a device with time travel capabilities will be excommunicated. If the Chronovisor was not real, then why was a law such as this passed? Even though you can watch the full video by clicking on the link in the description below, what is the Vatican afraid of? And is it true that
even our King James Bible has been changed? This is about to blow your mind. Look at Ephesians 6 verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Right, so that's the King James. Now look what it says in the Geneva Bible. This one is from 1560. This is before the King James. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against the worldly governors, the princes of darkness of this world, And notice how it didn't use against again, which means the worldly governors are the princes of darkness of this world, and against spiritual wickedness which are in the high places. So not only are we in a spiritual battle, we're also being attacked by the worldly governors, the princes of darkness of this world. If you research why he had it translated this way, was because certain things threatened his authority and his power. He also removed all 15 books of the Apocrypha, which are all in the Geneva Bible. King James literally banned the Geneva Bible, and it was for a reason. The Geneva Bible came before the King James. Let me know if you guys want a part 2 where I expose more of these changes that King James made from the Geneva Bible. God bless you guys. Don't forget to like and follow, and I'll see you in the next one.
Now I know it makes more sense to you guys why they banned those other books out the book and only kept 66 books. Because they just told you so it could fit their own narrative. Makes sense now, don't y'all know? Let me know what y'all think about that down below in the comment section.
Proof that God is real by a declassified FBI document. Their mission is peaceful. These visitors are human-like but much larger. They are not excrement earth people, meaning they do not have human flesh. They are not of the flesh. In Ephesians 6:12, which is in the Bible, says, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms," which is where they come from. But they come from their own world. They do not come from any planet as we would use the word, but from another world. A planet which interpenetrates, which that word interpenetrate means to merge with. And later it says with our own world, and it is not perceivable to us. So what does that mean? It's spirit.
In other words, in another dimension, like a spiritual realm, spiritual
forces. And as we read here in Revelations 12, it says its tail swiped a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. And the stars represents the fallen angels. Because later in verse 7, it says, "Then the war broke out in heaven, and Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back, but he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven, and the great dragon was hurled down, and that ancient serpent, which was in Genesis, called the devil or Satan, who led the whole world astray, he was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him." A thorough video will be coming out on my YouTube, so stay subscribed and stay tuned. Be blessed.
Yeah, man. Y'all stay subscribed.
That the photographs he provided the Newsmax.
Those were supposed to be Chronovisor clips or images of Christ.
Magazine were indeed real, and not that of a wood carving that had simply been recreated. He then further elaborated that Pope Pius XII had the device locked away within the Vatican catacombs, away from the public. It's hard to say if such a device ever did truly exist, but regardless, I think it makes for a very interesting topic for the imagination. But what do you think? Make sure to let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for new mysteries every single Sunday. And this has been Cody here at Mystery Archives. Remember to question everything, and we will see you next time.
Okay, these aliens are getting out of hand.
Y'all think the Chronovisor is a real device out here? Y'all let me know what y'all think down below.
Like, is this a disco party? Like, what is going on? I hate it gonna say it's Project Bluebeam or Project X, whatever y'all be saying.
Cool. It looked like Bluebeam, but it's probably real.
This right here is the exact spot Christ was crucified, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like underneath. this deck. When they were excavating, they kept finding these square holes in the bedrock. They believed that this is where the Romans would put the crosses when they would crucify people. They found one square hole in particular that really caught their attention because of what was found inside of it. Once this square stone was lifted from this square hole, inside they found a Tiberius coin, which dates from 14 AD to 37 AD, exactly the time of Christ. Ron Wyatt and his men believed that one of Christ's followers must have came back and marked the spot. And that makes sense looking at this passage because everybody was talking about Christ's crucifixion. It wasn't until later that Ron Wyatt was exploring Zedekiah's cave and he found the Ark of the Covenant directly below the post hole that had the Tiberius coin in it. Are you ready to see what it looks like beneath? I spoke to Richard Reeves on the phone, who reinforced the entire area with steel, preserving the spot. Do you see right here? You can clearly see an opening in the rock and a crack that leads down to another opening. He did a very good job of preserving the site, and I think that this will be very important for Christian history. Follow for more, and I'll explain to you how this is the spot where the two witnesses are going to stand at the end of time. It's also the spot that Jacob saw the ladder going into heaven, the very gateway to heaven, and nobody knows this.
Oh crap.
Man, I wonder if that's really like true, like the images, the clips, and the story, what he was saying about that exact location. I hope that's not like made up, you know, like not saying the story's made up, but I'm saying like his story, you know what I'm saying? Because like we always know history ain't always history, it's his story. Like that might not even be the exact same spot, you know what I mean? That's all I'm saying.
2024, the beginning of the end and the year of the beginning of the apocalypse? If you're saying no, I wouldn't be so sure about that. This movie right beside me, The Book of Eli, came out in 2010, and it's about the post-apocalypse world, and wait till I show you what's in the movie. Is Denzel Washington speaking to us and showing us the beginning of the end? Look at the scene right here. What's that on the wall? Let's blow it up again. It says the year is 2024 AD. And if you zoom in right here on the poster, it tells you it's a tale about a boy, his dog, and survival. 2024 AD. A future you'll probably live to see. That we will all live to see. Are they trying to tell us that the apocalypse will start this year? I'm sure we all feel that heavy cloud above us right now that things aren't normal and that this year specifically is going to be really crazy. You just know it. You just know it. Then we have the 2017 eclipse, and the final one for a long time will be in 2024 in April, making a giant X over America. A tale of two Trumps, if you will. Or maybe I'm just being crazy. What do y'all think?
I'll tell you one thing, shit already is crazy in 2024, and it's still the beginning. Man, y'all let me know what y'all think though. Is that crazy or not? Y'all think the Book of Eli, the 2024 thing in the background of the poster has something to do with today's time or not? Y'all let me know.
They trying to hide what they're doing. I'm telling you, that's why they trying to take down TikTok. Man, with everything that's going on right now, we are literally at the precipice of something great. You got to understand something, that these people, the powers that be, ancient, they're into this knowledge and this technology. Man, watch this right here.
Heading outside, check the sky. The solar eclipse starts soon. The whole country is brimming with anticipation and eager to witness the celestial show of the century. Next up, the new Democratic Party's presidential election. With 2 days before the election, the party's senior members were gathered together at the once Tokyo hotel this afternoon. All eyes are on this guy.
She's so many precious lives were lost today. You still didn't give me more medicine. We still haven't found out the cause behind it.
Now, that clip that you just saw is from House of Ninjas. Now, what I find interesting is that the whole storyline, it is derived around this eclipse that's supposed to be happening. House of Ninjas is on Netflix, and it came out probably about a month ago. But I want you to check it out, and I want you to see some of the clues and the symbolism that I also. some of the key things to remember and keep in mind to look out for is, one, of course, the eclipse is going to happen in April the 8th. 2 is the upcoming election that's happening in November. And 3 would have to be the significance of the location of where the totality eclipse is going to be traveling in, which is one of the cities is called
Nevada, y'all. That's definitely something to check out and pay attention to, y'all. And that was something crazy though. Y'all should go check out House and then just check out his channel, so show him some love and support. Sorry, y'all. Just like y'all been showing me, I sure appreciate that, man. And y'all been showing me a lot of love and support lately here. And I couldn't do this without y'all, and I couldn't do this without God, and I couldn't do this without these content creators and their content. So y'all show them some love, like I'm gonna show y'all some love back, especially whenever I hit 10K and 100K, you know what I'm saying? For real. Shoot, I think when I hit 10K subscribers, I might go ahead and do a little giveaway for about like $500, y'all. So I'm gonna let y'all know though, for sure. But we definitely gonna do a few $100 though, cause y'all showing some love. Yeah, and some memberships finna be open. We got super chats open right now, so y'all go check that out.
The Vatican hides a lot of things because the same buildings that are at the Vatican are the same buildings that were in San Francisco. And before the World Fair of San Francisco, they got rid of all the buildings that look like the Vatican. That was that whole reset. And what's interesting is there's a book from 1907 that talks about how when the San Francisco World Fair whole thing took place, that they tried to put out the fires with TNT and dynamite. TNT and dynamite to put out fires. Never heard of that before. Anytime there's a fire, I've never heard of anybody using TNT and dynamite. I've also never heard of them using cannons. They also talked about how they used cannons against the fire. So the same buildings that are in San Francisco are the same buildings that are in the Vatican. They're just going to try to point your eyes at the Vatican and say that they own that land, when in reality, those buildings and that type of style of architecture was all over the world. They just capitalized on it. And what's funny is the fires only burnt the tops of the buildings and certain parts of the building, but other parts of the building were completely untouched. Reminds me of a lot of 1893 Chicago, 1901 St. Louis, and 1901 Buffalo, New York. Only certain things burn and only certain things crumble.
Hold up. TNT to put out fires? I never heard of that either. Have you? Let me know down below in the comment section.
For all you Catholics out there who thinks that voodoo, Santeria, and witchcraft is bad, the Vatican was named after the underworld goddess named Vatica, which in Latin means oracle.
One thing I will say, y'all don't forget these videos are for entertainment purposes only. Don't go by what I say and what you hear in the videos. Always use your own discernment. Always do your own research now.
With absolute sadness, the Vatican City is infiltrated, so as the Universal Church is. It's very sad. Both East and West, Orthodoxy and Catholicism are infiltrated, but more so the Western Church, the Catholic, and precisely the Vatican City.
Introduced to the Vatican in laundering money. Marcinkus created the Banco di Roma. The Vatican owned it. The only branch of the Banco di Roma is in Chicago. Marcinkus was a coroner from Chicago. So we were taking the money to them. Now we can stop at an airport. We show them a letter from the Vatican.
Now how much would you have money
I'd be
with
moving
you?
2 or 3 million a week.
Does the Vatican run the world?
I think they are. Most people don't digest this. They're the largest single stockholder in the world. They own the most property in the world that pays no taxes. Every school, every Catholic church, figure out there's an organization a lot deeper than them called the Solidarity. It's a 2,000-year-old club, and it's in the catacombs of the Vatican. You know, the Vatican's a city within itself.
So they meet down there, you're saying?
That's where they are. They're very high-level profile people throughout the world. You get invited to be in it. Their money is untold. It's ridiculous.
Well, the Vatican, if you remember that for at least 2,300 years, Rome
starting with the Caesars of Rome, the Augustus Caesar, the first emperor. But for 2,300 years, Europe has been dominated by Rome. And then for in the last 1,600 years has been under the Catholic Church. The Holy Father is the Pontifex Maximus, which was a term given to the Caesars. Pontifex Maximus means the greatest bridge builder. And so, again, Rome has dominated Europe for 2,300 years, first under the Roman Empire and then under the Vatican. And for 2,300 years, Europe has dominated the planet. So therefore, all roads lead to Rome. And so that's why, again, when we were talking about the Jewish thing, the Jews are not doing anything near whatever's going on out there. Don't worry about the Jews. You better look at the Vatican. For 2,300 years, Rome has ruled Europe, and Europe has dominated the world. There's where the power is. The Holy Father, nothing holy in Rome. He represents God. That's why all of the royalty will tell you that they have a divine right. We mean divine right. That implies God put you there. No, divine right comes from the idea that the Pope anointed you. The Pope said you could be prince, so now you have a divine right. Why? Because he represents God. You say, what God? Because that Pope's tiara he wears is a fish head. The Roman Catholic Church is worshiping an old god named Dagon, D-A-G-O-N, Dagon. Dagon is the god of the Roman Catholic Church. But happily, most people have no idea who Dagon was. I have no idea what I'm talking about. So everything is fine until you wake up one day and start doing your homework and find out that the Roman god Dagon is the god of the Roman Catholic Church today.
Now, I know that's not your first time hearing about that hat, that fish head hat that the Pope wears in Dagon, especially if you've been watching my channel for a little bit here, because I made a video about that, and you heard it again here.
The Secret Covenant, made by the Kennedy, Onassis, Rockefeller, Russell, Van Dyne, Merovingian, Astor, Bundy, Collins, DuPont, the Rothschilds, and the Orsini family. The Orsinis have had control of the Vatican since its conception.
We will keep their lives short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so that they never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators and sedatives in food and water as well as in the air. They will be covered in poisons wherever they turn. The soft metals will make them lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure from our many funds, and yet we will give them more poison. Chemical poisons will be absorbed through the skin of idiots who believe that certain hygiene and beauty products presented by great actors and musicians will be eternal youth to their faces and bodies. And through their thirsty and hungry mouths we will destroy their minds and systems of internal organs, reproduction. However, their children will be born as disabled and deformed, and we will hide this information. The poisons will be hidden in everything around them, in what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. We have to be ingenious in distributing the poisons because they can see far. We'll teach them that poisons are good, with funny pictures and musical tones on TV. Those who are looking for them will be helpful. We will enroll them to push our poisons. They will see that our products are used in film and they will get used to them, and they will never know their true effect. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of their children and convince them that we are helping them. We will start earlier when their minds are young, and we will target their children with what children love most, sweet things. When their teeth decay, we will fill them with metals that kill their minds and steal their future. And when their ability to learn has been affected, we will create more drugs that will make them sicker and cause them other illnesses, for which we will create even more drugs. We will make them docile and weak before us by our power. They will grow depressed, slow, and obese. And when they come for us to help, we will give them more poison. We will focus our attention on money and material goods so they never connect with their inner self. We will distract them with fornication, external pleasures, so that they are never one with the unity of all. Their minds will belong to us, and they will do as we say. And if they refuse, we will find ways to implement technologies that alters the mind in their lives. We will use fear as a weapon. We will establish their governments, and we will establish opposition within them. We will own both sides. We will always hide our goal, but we will continue our plan. They will do the work for us, and we will prosper from their toil. Our families will never mix with theirs, and our blood, it must be pure because it is. We will make them kill each other when they oppose us. We will keep them separate from unity through dogma and religion, and we will control all aspects of their lives and tell them what to think and how. We will guide them kindly and let them believe that they are guiding themselves. We will instigate animosity among them through our factions. When a light shines among them, we will extinguish it by mockery or death, whichever suits us. We will make them tear their hearts apart and kill their own children. We will accomplish this using hatred as our ally, anger as our friend. Hatred will completely blind them, and they will never see that in their conflicts we will be their leaders. They will be killing each other. They will bathe in their own blood and kill their neighbours as long as we see that they are against us. We will benefit greatly from this, for they will not see us, for they cannot see us. We will continue to prosper from their wars and their deaths. We will repeat this until our ultimate goal is achieved. We will continue to make them live in fear and anger, and we will give them images and sounds. We will use all tools we have to achieve this. The tools will be provided by their work, and we will make them hate themselves and their neighbours. We will always hide the divine truth from them, that we are all one. That he must never know. They must never know that colour is an illusion. They must always believe that they are not equal. And drop by drop by drop by drop, we will advance our goal. We will take over their lands and resources and wealth to exercise control over them. We will trick them into accepting laws that will steal the little freedom they have. We will set up money systems that will shut them down forever, keeping them and their children at debt. When we band them together, we will accuse them of murder and present a different story to the world because we own all media. We will use this media to control the flow of information and their feelings in our favour. When they rise up against us, we will crush them like insects because they are less than that. They will be helpless to do anything about it.
Now, let me know what you think about that. Is that something or not?
What lies beneath the Vatican? Inquiring minds want to know. So the Vatican is a bastion of Christianity, and it's not necessarily the Christianity that I embrace, but that's a discussion for another time. I've been to the Vatican. I've walked through the halls. There's no heat. There's no air conditioning in the Vatican, but you will see the treasures that have been gathered through the centuries and on display in the Vatican. I'll never forget when I went into the Sistine Chapel, and you're not allowed to photograph there, and you're not allowed to say anything. So we're in there, and you're that maybe 200 people, 150 people, whatever, and you're looking up at the Sistine Chapel, and it's just mind-boggling. But are these images that we see in the Sistine Chapel, are they really Christian, or are they based in Greek mythos? Yet another discussion for another time. But what lies beneath the Vatican? That's what inquiring minds really want to know. What lies beneath in the Vatican Library? It's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet of stacks of manuscripts and books. The treasures of the world are there. And you know what? It's really difficult to access the Vatican archives. Now, some people will say, well, if you have a degree from this, that, and the other thing, and you fill out the paperwork, we'll let you in. Here's the rub. You have to know what you want. In other words, you can't go in and just start pulling manuscripts and go, wow, I want to read that. You can't do that. You have to say things like, I want to find out how many martyrs were killed under or before Emperor Constantine in 300 AD. You could do something like that, and maybe you would get a couple of manuscripts. Who knows what's there? Who knows what? The point is this. Does the Vatican know about a UFO that was downed in Italy in 1930? Allegedly, that craft was given over to the US. Can we prove that? Absolutely not. Why is it that the people of the world never get to know the truth? What is the truth? Thanks for watching. I am L.A. Marzulli.
When people ask how can there be 500 miles of tunnels beneath the Vatican, here ya go.
Most mysterious places on the planet, which is shrouded in mysticism, scandals, and the attention of millions of believers, the Vatican, the center of global dominance of the multi-million religion of Catholicism. But what is hidden behind these walls? Now, we will delve into the symbolism of the Vatican and perhaps reveal some secrets that have been right in front of you. The Vatican is located on Vatican Hill, which, according to one version, received its name in honor of the Etruscan goddess of death, Vatica. In this place, there used to be the Circus of Nero, where, as a spectacle for the people and the emperor, the first followers of Christ died a painful death, torn apart by wild animals. The Vatican sits on the bones of the early Christians, making it a symbolic place on its own. But this is just the beginning of our tour. Let's take a close look at the Vatican Audience Hall. Do you notice anything strange? The building resembles a sinister reptilian head. Interestingly, in the Bible, the serpent symbolizes cunning and deceit. But what is even more bizarre is the absence of Christian symbolism in this hall. Instead, there is a sculptural composition called the Resurrection on the stage, which resembles more of a depiction of hell. Doesn't that seem strange to you? Now, let's move on to the Pope's attire. It is worth noting that it's tailored in the only tailor shop which is inherited through generations. Each detail is meticulously crafted. There is no room for coincidence here. Have you ever paid attention to the details of the attire of the popes? You can see numerous details and symbols on the festive attire. For instance, the pallium is adorned with 6 dark crosses, 3 of which are pierced with gold pins. They symbolize the 3 nails with which Jesus was crucified on the cross. But what about the chasuble? On one of the chasubles of Pope Paul V, you can see an inverted cross, which is associated with the symbolism of the cross on which the first Pope, Peter, was crucified. However, the inverted cross is also a symbol of Satanists. Doesn't this remind you of the ceremonial attire of magicians? And that's not all. One of Pope Francis's chasubles, you can also see a symbolic depiction of extraterrestrials from the Atacama Desert's geoglyphs. What higher Christian message is he conveying to us through this symbolism? We are told that the Pope wore the chasuble with this symbol in honor of his visit to Chile. But something doesn't add up here, because he wore this chasuble on other occasions as well. Let's also pause and talk about the spiral triangle that can be seen on several chasubles of pontiffs. This is a symbol of the international boy lover movement, pedophiles, lovers of boys. Considering the numerous scandals and testimonies associated with pedophilia in the Catholic Church, seeing such a symbol on the Pope's attire does not seem like a random coincidence at all. Pope Benedict's red shoes caused outrage among parishioners. However, he refuted rumors that they were Prada shoes, stating that he wears on his feet the blood of Christ. Just think of it. The Pope wears the blood of the Son of God on his feet. An indispensable element of the Pope's attire is the Ring of the Fisherman. This ring is meant to remind the Pope of his heritage, that he is the successor of the Apostle Peter, who was a fisherman by profession. But let's not forget that Peter was the one who betrayed Jesus at the most critical moment, denying his association with him 3 times out of fear for his own life. It was not just betrayal, it was a rejection of Jesus himself and his teaching. Every time a new pope ascends to the throne, he must put his lips to his new ring as a sign of humility and readiness to continue the mission of Peter. But once again, we hear about the continuation of the mission of Peter rather than that of Jesus. This makes us wonder, what are the values that are conveyed through the Ring of the Fisherman? Some time ago, during liturgical ceremonies, popes would wear a tiara. It is a headpiece adorned with various symbols. Originally, the tiara consisted of 2 levels, symbolizing the pope's secular and spiritual authority. Later, a 3rd level was added, The 3 levels on the papal tiara symbolize his supremacy over the entire world. On the papal tiara, the title Vicarius Filii Dei is inscribed, which is translated from Latin as Vicar of the Son of God. In Latin, as well as in Greek, certain letters have numerical values. Researchers have noted that if you add up the numerical values of the letters in this title, the result is the number 666. This even sparked a scandal. Defenders of the Pope claimed that there was simply a grammatical error in the word Vicarius. They argued that the correct record of this word would be vicarious because the Latin language does not have the ending VS, but there is an ending US. Sort of, it was a mistake made by the ancients who didn't differentiate between the letters V and U. However, despite asserting that it was just a harmless grammatical error, no one seems to be rushing to correct it. The Pope's staff also has a symbolic meaning. It is interesting to mention that the Pontiff Paul VI made changes to the design of the papal cross. He was the first to use a staff with a curved crucifix and a distorted figure of Christ. This cross has been passed on to all subsequent popes, including Francis. According to former Catholic priest Pierre Scumpin, such crosses were used by black magicians of the Middle Ages to represent the biblical concept of the mark or sign of the beast, and they represent an ancient satanic symbol. This raises questions about the role this symbol plays in modern church symbolism and its true origin and meaning. Let's also pay attention to the coats of arms of the Catholic clergy. Does it remind you of anything? Perhaps a UFO?
Yes, indeed it does. Now my question is, what do you think of the Vatican? And could the Vatican be hiding something? And if so, what do you think they're hiding? And it says the resurrection, the sculpture of the resurrection, that room. Resurrection of what? Resurrection of who? Because they just told you it's definitely not Jesus or Christ. So what do you think it represents in reality? I want to know what you think down below in the comment section.
So he wears a black robe. Black robes, most people never question, why do Catholic priests wear black robes? Kids that graduate from high school wear black robes. Judges wear black robes. Rabbis wear black robes because black robes represent the planet Saturn. They're a symbol for the planet Saturn. Saturn was called by the ancient people Lord of the Rings. And Saturn is Lord of the Rings. This is why women were told in the ancient world to listen to their God. And the concept was they would wear an ear ring. Men were to get married before their gods. They wear a wedding ring. Because the old ancient god of the Middle East, one of the ancient gods of the Middle East, was the planet Saturn. Saturn was directly connected to Yahweh, the Hebrew God. And so this is why even today the Jews celebrate the worship of Saturn. Saturn in the old Phoenician language was called Shabbath. Look up in the Phoenician language, you will find that the planet Saturn was called Shabbath. And his worship to honor him once a week was called Sabbath. So when the Jews are having Sabbath, they're actually paying homage to their god Saturn, Lord of the Rings.
I don't know about that one, man. I think, man, don't fall for the boo-boo, man, on that one, because I thought they said Satan was Saturn, the planet they worship, and Saturn was connected. I don't know. Maybe it's mixed up. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm pretty sure one of you do. Let me know down below. What was the reference to Satan? Was it Saturn? What planet? Let me know down below. I don't know about that. I got to do more research on that one for sure, for sure.
I am so into reading forgotten books and spirituality, and the Vatican scares the absolute crap out of me. So I've been reading this book, The Secrets of the Vatican, and there is some crazy, crazy stuff in here. I was actually raised in the Catholic Church, and I still believe in God, but there is some kind of dark energy around the Vatican, and I think we should talk about it considering the season. First of all, let's talk about the fact that the Bible originally contained more books than are currently listed in the Bible. The Bible currently has 66 books, but these are some of the names of the deleted texts from the Bible that were removed by the Vatican. And look at the names of some of them, like the Book of Giants. A lot of these books talk about mystical creatures like giants and dragons and subjects like the apocalypse. And it's just like, why would you take them out? The Vatican Secrets book also talks about these 3 children from Portugal who claim that they witnessed the presence of the Virgin Mary. Mary gave each of them a secret. The 3rd secret was given to the youngest child, Lucia. This is her here as an adult, but it was never revealed until the Pope begged her. She sealed it in wax and gave it to him and said, do not open this until 1960. And the secret was apparently about the end of the world. She said that it was the persecution of Christians that would eventually cause the apocalypse. There's a section of the book that talks about the Vatican's proof of aliens. So apparently, if you've heard of the Anunnaki, which is a race of aliens, the Vatican apparently has proof that they exist. Not only that, but that they were the ones responsible for the massive structures built in Egypt, which is interesting when you consider this structure, St. Peter's obelisk in Vatican City, that was actually brought there from Egypt by someone from the Vatican, and it was used as the point of unaliving Christians at the base. Look it up. Not only that, but this book also talks about the fact that there is a mass graveyard underneath Vatican City from the Roman Empire that contains millions of bodies of pagans. All of this is interesting, especially when you consider the fact that in 1978, this Pope, John Paul I, was elected, and he didn't like what he saw in the Vatican. So he announced his plans to unveil a lot of the dark things that were going on. And then just 33 days later was found deceased, apparently by a heart attack. And he was found by another priest at the Vatican. Is this conspiracy or is there something to this? Let me know what you think in the comments and follow for more like this.
That's crazy. Now, what would they, how could that be a holy site or whatever if they use it to persecute or, Christians? And, man, these guys, the same guys as, back then were connected to the Knights Templar, the Knights Templars. It is getting real weird around here, man. We going deep in this rabbit hole. It's crazy.
What happened to this religious vessel, and why do some people believe the Vatican is hiding it? Straight out of the Da Vinci Code, it's a fascinating theory. During the climax of the Siege of Jerusalem in 70 CE, the Roman army ransacked Jerusalem and the Second Temple, a scene immortalized on the Arch of Titus. Soldiers delivered loads of stolen Jewish treasures to Rome, the priceless menorah chief among them. This takes us to the Vatican theory. The 12th century Spanish Jewish traveler, Benjamin of Tudela, recorded in his diary that the Jews of Rome knew the menorah and other temple treasures were stored in a cave beneath the Roman Church. Incredibly, a 1291 mosaic claimed the Vatican not only possessed the menorah, but the Ark of the Covenant. The Israel Antiquities Authority even sent a team to search the Vatican storerooms and found zilch. But the theory lives on. It's never been disproven. And the other option just isn't as exciting, that at some point in the menorah's long history of getting pillaged, it was simply melted down into cold, hard gold.
Hey, no.
Chronovisor.
Now, did you know why they said that? It was because that picture is Sergio Borgia, the son of a pope, and he was a homo. To each their own out there, But yeah, and he was connected to Da Vinci. They were lovers. I'm pretty sure by now a lot of you know that by now. But if you didn't, let me know in the comment section. Say, comment, hey, I didn't know that.
Is a conspiracy that involves the Vatican. This man, who was a monk, Pellegrino Ernetti, he had this skill set restoring old chants, and he was heard his father's voice, and he's like, that sounds like my dad. This frequency that was coming in, like interrupting the chant. He heard his father talking about shining shoes. He's like, that is my father. He was a cobbler. It was like they're able to tap into this whole past life. So that got Pellegrino to start doing research into what he called residual energy. He theorized that light and sound from past events continue to exist as forms of energy that could be detected. Whoa! He went back, and there was this old Roman play, only a few fragments remain. He went back and was able to watch the whole play and write down the entire play. Dude. They went to the Pope with it, and the Pope said, you have to get rid of it. He said, this is way too dangerous. Supposedly, they dismantled it, but there's a lot of people theorizing that the Vatican still has it, they still use it, and potentially the CIA is involved in it too.
They would have to be. If that thing's real, the knowledge that they can gain with that.
Now, have you heard of Father Pellegrino in the Chronovisor? before this video. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have, because it's been, you know, well known. You know, him and the Chronovisor have been well known, you know, for a while to this point. You know, and why would the Pope think it was too dangerous? Why would he think it was dangerous? Could that reveal some lies or some truths that were, you know, hidden, or some lies that were hidden, you know, from the past that they've been putting out? I mean, no, I know that's definitely a mind boggler if you really think about it.
The Chronovisor was invented by Father Pellegrino Ernetti in the 1950s, an Italian priest who claimed that the device allowed him to see and hear events from the past. Ernetti collaborated with a team of scientists and technicians to build the Chronovisor, which allegedly used a complex system of antennas and cathode ray tubes to capture and display historical events. There are claims that it was used to witness the crucifixion of Jesus Christ and the last words of Napoleon Bonaparte. Ernetti's own conflicting accounts of the device's capabilities have cast doubt on its existence. Despite the mystery and skepticism surrounding the Chronovisor, its story remains an intriguing part of scientific and technological history. Do you believe the Vatican might be hiding the secret in the shadows?
Bone fragments of Peter. St. Peter, the foremost apostle of Christ, is a towering figure in Christian theology. His significance to the Roman Catholic Church is undeniable, often regarded as the first pope and the rock upon which Christ declared his church would be built. But beneath St. Peter's Basilica, deep within the Vatican grottos, lies a mystery that has perplexed theologians, historians, and archaeologists for centuries. The bone fragments believed to belong to the very apostle himself. The story of these relics began in the mid-20th century when excavations beneath the basilica, initiated by Pope Pius XIV, revealed a complex of ancient tombs and mausoleums. These structures, predating the basilica itself, provided a tantalizing glimpse into early Christian history. Amidst these relics of the past was an unassuming shrine bearing the Greek inscription Petros Eni, translated as Peter is here. This discovery set off a flurry of speculation and investigation. Could these bones genuinely belong to St. Peter? Were they interred right beneath the altar where millions of believers had come to worship? The initial examinations were promising. The bones belonged to a robust man in his 60s or 70s, fitting the presumed age of Peter at the time of his martyrdom. They also dated back to the 1st century AD, aligning with the apostles' lifetime. These tantalizing pieces of evidence seemed to provide a partial affirmation, but doubts remained. One of the significant controversies surrounding the bone fragments is their fragmented state. They were not found as a complete skeleton, but rather as scattered fragments, leading skeptics to question their authenticity. Some argue that if these were indeed the relics of so revered a figure, they would have been preserved with greater care. Further fueling the mystery is the manner of St. Peter's death. Tradition holds that Peter was crucified upside down, a final act of humility, deeming himself unworthy to die in the same manner as Christ. But the fragments provide no conclusive evidence of such a fate, leaving the door open to myriad interpretations. Number 4. The Ghost of the Borghese Gallery. The Borghese Gallery, with its stunning collection of artworks from masters like Caravaggio, Raphael, and Bernini, is one of Rome's crowning jewels. Yet, amidst the splendid paintings and statues lies a spectral tale that adds a haunting dimension to the gallery's historical allure. This tale speaks of a phantom whose presence has been whispered about for centuries, the ghost of the Borghese Gallery. This ethereal apparition is believed to be none other than Princess Pauline Bonaparte, the favorite sister of Napoleon Bonaparte. She was the wife of Camillo Borghese and is immortalized in marble by Antonio Canova in the gallery. This magnificent statue, Pauline Bonaparte as Venus Victrix, portrays her reclining gracefully, embodying both her alluring beauty and her audacious spirit. Visitors to the gallery have reported eerie occurrences around this very statue. Some speak of a sudden drop in temperature, while others claim to have felt an invisible hand lightly brush against them. There have been numerous accounts of visitors catching a fleeting glimpse of a figure resembling Pauline, drifting silently amidst the artworks, her gaze melancholic and distant. Local lore adds depth to this haunting. It's said that Pauline, in her lifetime, had an insatiable desire for beauty and eternal youth. Her statue, a tribute to her eternal beauty, is believed to anchor her spirit to the gallery. Her apparition, some claim, roams the halls in a never-ending quest for admiration, much like she sought in her earthly life. Adding to the spectral atmosphere is the faint aroma of roses that many have reported smelling near the statue, especially during late hours. Pauline was known for her fondness for rose perfumes, and this scented clue further cements the belief in her lingering presence. A haunting episode that bolstered the legend took place in the early 1900s. A night guard, during his routine rounds, reportedly heard soft whispers emanating from the room housing Canova's masterpiece. Curious, he approached, only to witness the statue of Pauline slowly turning its head towards him. Overwhelmed with terror, the guard fled and refused to return to the gallery after dark. This incident, passed down through generations, has added a chilling chapter to the ghostly lore. Number 5. Nostradamus' lost predictions. Nostradamus, the 16th century French seer, has left an indelible mark on history with his mysterious quatrains, prophecies that have been scrutinized, interpreted, and debated for centuries. While many of his predictions are well documented, there is a persistent legend that suggests a collection of his prophecies is concealed within the secretive walls of the Vatican. The story starts in the late 1500s, shortly after the death of Nostradamus. Rumors began circulating that not all of his writings had been made public. A manuscript, differing from his published collections, was said to have been dispatched to Rome. This document, believed to contain some of his most explosive and detailed predictions, was allegedly deemed too controversial and destabilizing by church authorities of the time. This lost manuscript, as legends suggest, contains predictions that directly reference pivotal events in church history, including the schisms, controversies, and even potential scandals that would unfold over the subsequent centuries. The prophecies are believed to be more explicit than the typically cryptic quatrains Nostradamus is known for, making them more accessible and, therefore, potentially more dangerous in the wrong hands. While the Vatican has never confirmed the possession of such a manuscript, several curious events have added fuel to the speculative fire. In the 19th century, a scholar claimed to have come across references to this secretive document in the diary of a cardinal from the 1600s. The diary detailed the cardinal's discomfort and unease upon reading the forbidden quatrains of the seer. Another tantalizing clue comes from a defector of the church in the early 20th century. In hushed circles, he whispered of a forbidden library within the Vatican, a place where heretical texts and controversial documents were kept away from prying eyes. Among these, he claimed, was the lost manuscript of Nostradamus, heavily annotated and studied by a select few. Many believers in the prophecy argue that the very nature of Nostradamus's work, the ability to foresee future events, would naturally be of immense interest to the church. Keeping such predictions under lock and key would ensure control over potentially destabilizing information and prevent potential misinterpretations or misuse. Now,
Vatican, they have a lot of fucking...
Man, if that don't make your mind wonder, I don't know what will. Let me know what y'all think about the Apostle Peter's bones, though. Do y'all think they're real, or do you think they're fake? And especially, what do y'all think about the Nostradamus predictions? Do you think they have some truth to them, or do you think it's just a bunch of made-up BS? Let me know.
Luciferian shit. Look at the resurrection. Look at the sculpture of the resurrection. Pull that up, the sculpture, and you tell me if that's Jesus. Look up this is in the Vatican Cathedral. The sculpture of the resurrection.
Eddie, have you ever been?
It does not look like Jesus.
Have you ever been to the Vatican?
I've seen a lot of videos on it.
You should go. You should go.
It's amazing
just to see it. It's pretty fucking.
I'm sure it's drinking the blood of Christ and eating his flesh.
Look at this. This is their main church. That does not. That's supposed to be Jesus right there. This is supposed. It looks like a Slayer album cover.
Well,
that looks like Hella Waits.
It's an artist rendering.
That looks like Hella Waits. Slayer right there. So they're saying.
Pull up the.
So this is supposed to represent the resurrection of Jesus.
What you think?
Deep within the Vatican walls, a treasure trove of ancient Egyptian artifacts has been kept under lock and key for centuries. The collection is a mystery that has drawn in scholars, historians, and curious adventurers from around the world. But what is it about these relics that has drawn them to the Vatican, and what secrets might they hold? As you make your way through the dimly lit halls of the Egyptian Museum, you can't help but feel a sense of excitement building within you. Each object seems to hold a story, a piece of history waiting to be uncovered. The intricate hieroglyphics etched into the walls, the beautifully crafted sarcophagi, and the ornate amulets and jewelry all speak to a time and a culture that is both fascinating and mysterious. But as you delve deeper into the collection, you begin to realize that there is more to these artifacts than meets the eye. Could there be secrets hidden within these ancient texts, secrets that could change the course of history or reveal the truth about our world? Rumors have long circulated about the Vatican's collection of Egyptian artifacts, with some suggesting that there are texts that contain forbidden knowledge. Ancient spells and incantations that hold the power to change the world. Others claim that there are artifacts that have been deliberately kept from public view, for fear that they might reveal something that would shatter our understanding of history and the world we live in. Do the artifacts kept here expose the extraterrestrial secret of our distant past? And yet, despite the mystery and intrigue that surrounds these relics, the Vatican has kept its secrets well guarded. The collection of Egyptian artifacts stored within its walls is a testament to the enduring fascination and allure of ancient Egypt. But what other secrets might be hidden within the Vatican's hallowed halls?
You're saying that the Catholic Church, the Vatican, they know about the existence of non-human intelligence on this planet.
Certainly. The Vatican archives, along with some of the most incredible texts and books and inventions that ever existed on this planet. And they siphon it away, and they're hoarding all of that wisdom and knowledge so that they can keep control and power and domination over the world. And guess what? It's working.
This is a shocking claim. The fact that the allegation that the Vatican might have known about non-human intelligence on Earth.
The Vatican...
No, I don't think no one person, one organization should be over any mass amount of information, especially secret information or secrets that the whole world should know. Man, I think the whole world deserves to know what's really going on, deserves to know this information and these secrets. But I don't know, I might just be tripping. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section.
There's a terrifying secret. The preserved head of a nun, a relic hidden for over 300 years. In 1742, Sister Josephine Rosenthal inexplicably appeared pregnant, though she was a virgin. Tests confirmed her purity, branding her pregnancy a divine mystery. Tragically, Josephine died in childbirth, delivering a daughter, Maria Rosenthal. Maria was born a hermaphrodite, a condition that incited fear and revulsion among the clergy. Seen as a demonic being, she endured relentless torment from priests and nuns alike. The church leaders, driven by superstition and prejudice, devised a horrifying plan. Maria would be sacrificed at the age of 33, mimicking Christ's death, to shroud their cruelty in a guise of sanctity. Maria discovered their sinister plot and, in utter despair, took her own life. In a macabre ritual, her head was severed and embalmed in a box adorned with a cross. But death did not bring peace. Maria's spirit began to haunt the convent, her ghostly apparitions a chilling reminder of the horror she faced.
Ooh, now that's interesting. Could that be the origin story form where the movie, the horror film, The Nun was formed? Like, did they get that from that? That's quite interesting, man. That's definitely something to make your mind wonder. And I think that could be where they really got that from, man. Personally, what do you think? ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. That look like a fallen angel to me personally, man, but I might just be tripping or seeing things, right? Nah, I ain't seeing things. But that's the fallen angel in my opinion.
We need to do if we're going to find out if the devil is at the Vatican is take a tour underneath the Vatican. As we arrive underneath the Vatican, we see that it is laid out in a number of rooms marked by letters, as we could see in this aerial view map. Now we will be exploring some of the rooms in this map. Let's start off by looking in room C here. As we look into the room, we see that this is a mausoleum of Lucius Tullius Zethus. The Vatican goes on and explains that this room was used for offerings to the dead. We read, view of the north wall and mosaic floor. In the corners of the mosaic floor there are 8 marble squares with circular holes through which offerings to the dead were poured during the funeral rites carried out in the burial chamber. So here we have a room where offerings are done to the dead. That's pretty common in Catholicism. Now if we look in the next room, room E, so here in this room they have a vase which has the image of a Medusa. So here underneath the Vatican we have a Medusa. Again, we ask ourselves the question, this is a vase, but yet it's kept underneath the Vatican. This could have easily been removed. If the Vatican was a holy church, you would think that they would have done this. You think underneath the Vatican they would have things that are sacred to Christ and not foreign gods, not idols and images of foreign gods. Now as we move down further to room H, here we see that this is a mausoleum that is one of the largest and most luxurious mausoleums underneath the Vatican of St. Peter's Basilica. It says that it was built at the beginning of the second half of the 2nd century during the reign of Emperor Marcus Aurelius and belonging to a freedman of the important Valeri family. And as we're in this mausoleum, we see that there's lots of idols from the old Roman Empire. We ask ourselves, why does Rome keep these idols down underneath St. Peter's Basilica? You would think if they were Christians, they would want to clean all this out. I can't imagine anybody who has a true church would keep idols in their churches, especially pagan idols left over from a bygone pagan era. But here we have the Vatican keeping many pagan idols underneath St. Peter's Basilica. Here is an idol the Vatican is displaying of a head of a child in gilded stucco and a lock of a hair typical of one initiated into the cult of Isis. And this particular idol is an idol of a boy who was initiated into the cult of Isis. If we look in this room, we see that some of the stucco decorating the walls. Here we have a personification of Oceanus. You remember the New Testament book of Revelation says that a beast comes out of the ocean. And so we say, why is the Vatican having these foreign gods underneath its basilica? Why is it protecting them? If it was a true church, it couldn't be doing it for the sake of art, especially with all the evil things that are happening in the Vatican. And as the priest earlier said, that evil does exist, the devil is real, as he admitted. But the hypocrisy of all of this is that they have all these evil images and idols underneath the Vatican of St. Peter's Basilica. We also see 2 figures of genuses with bat wings also portrayed on the walls. Again, this is supposed to be a holy church and a holy place. Now this is supposedly all there for many, many years. As we move into the next room, room I, the details of the mosaic floor with Mercury and Pluto's chariot, they go on and explain that this theme is an explicit reference to the overcoming of death and the return of the afterlife. They describe it as a splendid mosaic floor of Mercury is depicted carrying a caduceus with wings at his ankles, walking in front, and a chariot carrying Pluto and his wife Persephone. So here we have all these Roman gods underneath the Vatican, images of foreign gods. Well, as we move to the next room, we find out why they keep all these idols down there and these images. As we move to room U, here we find the shock of all shocks. Here on the wall, it says there is a depiction of Lucifer. That is the light bearer, the morning star. On the opposite of the wall, there is a drawing of Vesper, the evening star, cosmic symbol of the human life cycle. We find out that when we get to room U, here we have a clear depiction of Lucifer underneath the Vatican at St. Peter's Basilica. We ask ourselves, why are they keeping this image of Lucifer underneath the Vatican? Again, you would think if you're a Christian church, you would not want to have any of these images. Now we know that they'll go on and say, oh, well, we're saving it because it's a UNESCO heritage site or something like that. This is always their excuse, saving it for the sake of art. But for the true Christian, this is not an excuse, because we know if you're giving glory and propaganda to false deities and false pagan gods, what are you doing? You're in essence supporting the evil spiritual realm. This cannot be from God. And since Rome claims itself to be the one true church, you would think they would lead by example. But what kind of example is this? That you have a depiction of Lucifer underneath the Vatican for countless hundreds and hundreds of years? Now this image here underneath the Vatican has been there since their claim, which would be Constantine. We would know that he was the first one that built this basilica. And so again we ask ourselves, why are they keeping this depiction of Lucifer underneath the Vatican? Well, we think the answer for why all these images, idols, are kept underneath the Vatican is because what we're dealing with here is we're dealing with an apostate church that has always been apostate, and even now as it is filled with Freemasons. And so we know that the reason why they're keeping all this there now, and they're actually revealing this on their internet website, is because they want people to see this. They want people to see what they're really all about. For the masses who believe that Rome is still a pure church, they don't mind deceiving them into believing that they are still a Christian church. As you go down underneath the Vatican, down into the next rooms, they will try to convince you on this tour that you take that Peter is buried down there in one of the rooms, and that this gives credence to following the Pope. But we ask the question, why would you want to follow a Pope who has all these evil things underneath his church? It's very clear by this depiction of Lucifer that the devil is in the Vatican. He's hidden way down underneath the Vatican at St. Peter's Basilica. Now, if you are a Catholic and you are watching this video, we want to encourage you to come out of that church. As you can see from these images and these idols that are kept underneath your church, we would hope that you would soberly think about these things and ask yourself the question, if my church is a true church, why is it promoting these things? Why does it even want people to see these things? We would hope that you would hear the exhortation of Revelation 18, verse 4, where it says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, 'Come out of her, my people, that you may not participate in her sins, and that you may not receive of her plagues, for her sins have piled up as high as heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities.'" And
at this point, there's no telling what's really under the Vatican. Hell, werewolves, vampires, shoot, maybe even Bigfoot. That's definitely something to think about, right? Maybe even giants. Man, they saying all kind of stuff is under the Vatican. Allegedly. I guess we'll never know, because we'll never get to look and see what's really under the Vatican. Let me know though. What do you think is under the Vatican? I'm curious.
The Grand Grimoire is purported to be a secret book stored in the Vatican archives. It is considered a real book because the Vatican claims ownership of it, but has never allowed anyone to view its contents. Allegedly, the book was discovered in the tomb of Solomon in 1750, yet it bears the date 1522. The author of the book, Honorius of Thebes, is said to be Satan himself or possessed by Satan for the purpose of writing the book. Some theorists suggest that the book possesses supernatural qualities, as it cannot be torn, burned, pierced, penetrated, or otherwise damaged or destroyed. It is claimed to be the only book containing the knowledge of a precise ritual for summoning Satan and other powerful demons. Additionally, the book is said to include precise information about the locations of biblical relics, and even contains Satan's personal sketches of the faces of Judas Iscariot and Jesus Christ.
Man, that definitely sounds something like out of a movie or a series of Charmed or the Supernatural series with Sam and Dean. Man, where y'all at when we need you?
Believe it or not, stargates, portals, interdimensional doorways that open into supernatural realms are real. The discovery and control of the specific locations on Earth where these gates exist is one of the most classified deep black operations conducted by military and intelligence organizations around the world. The sorcery associated with accessing and opening these gates was the most dangerous and destructive knowledge given to mankind by fallen angels. Legends of gateways and portals opening to both heavenly and hellish realms frequently appear in the tablets, scrolls, and scripts of the ancient world, including both the Old and New Testaments of the Bible.
We wanted to examine whether or not it is a biblical premise that there are specific locations on the earth where there are gateways or doorways, vortexes that connect supernaturalism with the physical world. And once we started looking at whether or not that is biblical, it was amazing how it just kind of opened up in the scripture. And now we started seeing everywhere, right? Genesis 28, Jacob has a vision and he sees, now in the King James Version of the Bible, it's called a ladder. But the Hebrew there is very interesting in that it seems to describe a spiral. So was it like a spiral staircase? That's what some people have suggested, but others have said a vortex, which happens to be kind of an international symbol that you find across all cultural barriers as a symbol of a vortex, right? But in any case, Jacob sees angels ascending and descending from heaven. He comes out of that vision. He is so shook up because this is so vivid that he gets out anointing oil. He's trembling, right? And he anoints the entire place, but he says something very important. Now, a lot of people say that he said, this is the house of God. But if you read that in the Hebrew, that's not what he says. He says there is a gate here to the house of God. There is a gateway, a doorway here. Well, we found that once you started thinking about that concept, it spanned from the Old Testament through the New Testament. Jesus arrives, he's talking about the windows of heaven and how from henceforth you'll see the windows of heaven open and angels ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. It's an Old and New Testament principle. Now, we also found that, like the Apache Indian have done, the scripture often combines the location of these gateways to mountainous regions. Remember how Moses, whenever he's going to meet with God, he has to go to the top of the Mount Sinai. Look at how when Jesus returns, it says his feet will touch the top of the Mount of Olives, and then he will descend down to the earth. In the apocryphal book of Enoch, it talks about the 200 watchers that descended in the days of Jared. But how do they come down? They come down from the top of Mount Hermon, down into the valley of the plains, and then they begin their illegal activity. Jesus later, years later, is standing at the base of Mount Hermon. He is standing there with his disciples in Caesarea Philippi, and that's the location where the Greeks, by that time, had built mystical doorways into the base of that mountain, and actually in commemoration illustration of the legends that dated back to the Watchers descending on that mountain. And it's there where Jesus is standing with his disciples, and he says, the gates of hell will not prevail against my church.
In the 9th chapter of the book of Revelation, a star falls from heaven to the earth. He is given the key to the bottomless pit. When he opens the abyss, a great smoke arises and all hell breaks loose.
And up out of this gateway of the earth come these terrible insectoids that begin tormenting unrighteous humanity, right? That's on the face of the earth. Many people, though, don't know that there's something very intriguing in that same chapter. Chapter 9 of Revelation ends by saying something extraordinary. It says that those people who are being tortured by these insectoids, these transgenic beings that come up out of the underworld, who have a king over them called Abaddon or Apollyon, it says, and yet they repented not of their sorceries. And the Greek word there, sorcery, is pharmakia. Now, what is pharmakia? In the biblical context, and the reason it was forbidden, a pharmakia is the use of technology and sorcery for the express purpose of opening a doorway which God has closed in order to put ourselves in contact with what is behind it. It's the use of sorcery to open metaphysical doorways, gateways. So imagine this, that in Revelation 9, where the gates of the earth open and these terrible things come up and start torching humanity, it ends by saying, and yet they repented not of their pharmakia, of their effort to open doorways to the metaphysical world. So it's almost as if God is saying, you asked for it, you got it.
We are approaching another Tower of Babel moment on the earth. Another Nimrod is arising. The rebellion and sorcery of the Sumerians is reigniting in the hearts of men. Soon, forbidden gates will be opened, and the man of sin will appear. Even now, theological foundations are being laid in anticipation of the arrival of a superior alien race. The fish-head priests of Babylon are preparing to fulfill their occult destiny and welcome from heaven the return of the gods. Those who control the past determine the future. The reality of the pre-flood age has been concealed, covered over and covered up, so that the truth of prehistory will remain forgotten, and the world will be doomed to repeat it. God said that his people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. The great deception of the future will take advantage of the ignorance of the past. Only the truth can prepare us for the lie that's coming.
For thousands of years, Luciferians have been envisioning the time in which we now live. The consummation of their ancient plan is finally drawing near. The lost knowledge of the Watchers has been recovered. Like Osiris, the Golden Age will be resurrected, and fallen angels will lead mankind in one last insurrection.
History is being repeated. The days of Noah are returning, and men's hearts will fail them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming upon the earth.
Like I always say now, a lack of perception breeds deception. Don't fall for the boo-boo, man. Y'all heard what he said at first, man. He said that basically those aliens are fallen angels, are demons, man. Y'all still think them aliens are aliens? Say, man, those are demons, demonic beings. And then he said later on about aliens, that aliens talking about the great deception. You said history will be repeated. These fallen angels will try to lead one last insurrection. Say, man, I've been telling y'all this whole time, those so-called aliens y'all think are aliens are fallen angels. These people, they've been coming out of portals. Come on now. Come on now. Wake up. Get your eyes open. Not keep them wide shut. Eyes open. Pay attention.
The Vatican is secretly preparing for the arrival of alien saviors. As crazy as that sounds, the exotheology is already being drafted. For several years now, Jesuit astronomers have been posturing themselves and their church for disclosure, speaking openly about life on other planets and the accommodation of extraterrestrials into Catholic doctrine, even declaring that if given the opportunity, they would eagerly baptize aliens.
Welcome back to The World Over. In May, Pope Francis set tongues a-wagging when in a homily during his morning mass, he referenced a visit from extraterrestrials. The media ran with it and suggested that the Catholic Church was confirming the existence of intelligent life on other planets. Joining us tonight is a man who has literally pondered the mysteries of the heavens as part of his job. He is an astronomer at the Vatican Observatory and the president of the Vatican Observatory Foundation, a Jesuit, and the co-author of the new book, Would You Baptize an Extraterrestrial? We're delighted to have joining us Brother Guy Consolmagno in studio. Great to see you, brother.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Pope Francis, during one of his morning homilies, had this to say. I'll share it with the audience. He said, imagine if, for example, tomorrow, an expedition of Martians came, green with long noses and big ears, just like children draw them, and were to say, I want to be baptized. What would happen? Here's the big question. Yeah. Would you baptize an extraterrestrial?
Only if she asks.
Okay.
Much of what is said in public by Vatican officials concerning aliens is tongue-in-cheek, facetious, as if their interest in extraterrestrials is more of a playful fancy than a serious consideration. But this is a very carefully calculated process of acclimation. Like the proverbial boiling frog, the masses are gradually being conditioned for disclosure without even realizing it.
If you want to change somebody's worldview, you don't just come out of the gate with an argument that is diametrically opposed to everything they believe. You use the Fabian process of gradualism. You send out these little softballs like, well, if there was an alien intelligence, we would be willing to baptize them into the Catholic faith because, after all, if they exist, they must be part of creation, so they're part of what God made. Little by little, they've changed that, though, and they've went to now saying it's very possible that the alien intelligence is morally superior to us, because what we know about ourselves is that we are fallen. But we can't assume the same thing about the aliens. Therefore, our space brothers may know more about God and the gospel than we do. Therefore, they will be coming here to baptize us into a better understanding of the Godhead. It won't be us baptizing them. So the language has continued to change.
Eventually, they're going to claim that Jesus was an extraterrestrial and that life was seated on this planet by a superior race of beings thousands of years ago. And they may even produce documents and artifacts that have been locked away in their archives and vaults for centuries to prove their claim. We're talking about the greatest deception in history, and many Christians are going to fall for it because it will be so cunningly integrated into a biblical context and backed up with physical evidence.
What we know is that right now, some of the Opus Dei level theologians at the Pontifical Academy in Rome, as well as the Pope's University in Rome, are working on doctrine that very specifically has to do with religious information of an extraterrestrial source and what the impact of that might be on faith on earth. For instance, Father Giuseppe Tanzelloniti is an Opus Dei level theologian. He works at the Pontifical University, the Pope's University in Rome. And here's what he says. He says that if extraterrestrial intelligence provides information, it may cause us to have to rethink everything we have ever known and believed about the gospel. Here's a quote. He says, "It would not immediately oblige the Christian to renounce his own faith in God simply on the basis of the reception of new unexpected information of a religious character from extraterrestrial civilizations, but that such a renunciation could come soon after, as the new religious content originating from outside the earth is confirmed as reasonable and credible." Let me insert here, I have no idea how you would be able to confirm extraterrestrial information that's going to alter the gospel would be reasonable and acceptable, incredible. I don't know what that process is, but let me keep going. Quote, "Once the trustworthiness of the information has been verified, the believer would have to reconcile such new information with the truth that he or she already knows and believes on the basis of the revelation of the one and triune God, conducting a re-reading of the gospel inclusive of the new data." They seem to be preparing themselves. And not just, well, what if, maybe someday. I mean, they seem to be intentionally creating dogma that is going to position the Roman Catholic Church to be at the forefront of an official disclosure moment, the official voice piece. Well, maybe these guys are talking about this because of something that another Roman Catholic priest had talked about, Monsignor Corrado Balducci.
Corrado Balducci was an exorcist and theologian of the Vatican Curia and the foremost demonologist of the Church. During the pontificate of Pope John Paul II, ironically, Balducci also became the official spokesperson on the subject of UFOs and aliens.
Before he died, Corrado Balducci went on a series of Italian television programs talking about aliens, saying that they are real, that he had evidence that they are real. Furthermore, he said as an exorcist, he could confirm that they are not demons and they are not angels. He said they are advanced humanoid-like intelligences. But even more outstanding was what happened just before he died. He came to the United States. He agreed to be part of a documentary film in which he said not only is the Vatican aware of the alien intelligence, but there is an advanced guard of these aliens who are already here on Earth. And he said the Vatican is using their embassies from around the world both to study and survey the alien agenda, but also participating with them.
Radio host Art Bell asked the former Jesuit priest Malachi Martin about why the Vatican had muscled its way onto Mount Graham and what it was they were looking for in deep space. Malachi Martin's response ignited a firestorm of speculation.
All right, Father, the Vatican has a very, very great deal of power.
That's right.
We've talked about it. They have, whether they admit it or not, a great deal of political power all around the world. Mm-hmm. One of the things that they did fairly recently was they muscled, and I do intend to use that word, they muscled their way onto a mountain in Arizona, Mount Graham, and they built an observatory on Mount Graham in connection with an Arizona university.
Yes.
However, the Vatican has the larger part of the control of this observatory,
yes,
looking at deep space things.
That's right.
Now, why would they have done that, Father?
Because the mentality amongst those who at the higher levels, the highest levels of Vatican administration and Vatican geopolitics, know that now knowledge of what's going on in space and what's approaching us could be of great import in the next 5 years, 10 years.
carefully and well chosen words, Father. Thank you.
This guy was no Johnny-come-lately. Malachi Martin worked under 3 popes, was favored by them. He was a formidable polyglot. He could speak 17 languages, and he could translate most extinct languages. He was the first guy that broke the news about how hundreds of young boys were being molested by what he called Luciferians, satanic priests, that he said reached all the way to the highest levels of the Vatican, among the College of Cardinals. And at the time, you know, Jesuits and others were saying he's a crime.
Don't fall for the boo-boo, man. Only the ones with discernment and the perception, the sight of perception to see will not be deceived. Never forget that, my friend. Never forget that. It's been a good one. Man, I enjoyed the company. I hope you enjoyed the video and the content. Y'all don't forget to hit that like button on your way out. It's your main man, MoneybaggCoo. I'm out, man. Holla. Y'all take it easy.